Chapter 1375. Bloodline Ability. What a strange golden rune. The four demon emperors suddenly felt an aura that made them tremble. In their nervousness, they even thought that Lu Kuan's swollen and twisted golden blood vessels were some kind of special rune. Immediately after, they felt their minds go into a trance. The human seemed to have disappeared in an instant, and the golden yuan chi in the cage turned into dozens of golden fish shadows, bombarding in all directions. Irregular cracks suddenly appeared on this force field cage that was flashing with lightning energy. Only then did the four demon emperors realize that the other party's body did not disappear, but his speed exceeded the limit of what they could see. Before they could infuse energy to reinforce the cage, the latter shattered with a loud bang. The demon emperors felt great danger. They crossed their hands and subconsciously blocked in front of their chests. Almost at the same time, an unparalleled force came and hammered their arms. Boom! The passive force field around them was unable to put up any resistance at all. It directly shattered, and the four tall figures were also sent flying. The demon emperors were in a daze. In just 2 breaths of time, not only was the force field cage broken, but the 4 connected demon emperor force fields were also completely separated. Then they came back to their senses. Dark purple lightning energy rolled in their bodies and added to their purple-black scales. Their separated bodies tried to come back together. But in the next breath, several golden fists appeared around them and fiercely bombarded their chests. Bang, 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 accompanied by heavy hammering sounds. It was as if 4 Lu Kuan had appeared in the air and attacked each demon emperor at the same time. Broken purple-black scales surged in the air. In just 1 or 2 breaths of time, more than half of the scales on the demon emperors' bodies fell off, revealing the mangled flesh underneath. What speed is this? It's too terrifying. If this continues, we won't be able to last 10 breaths. Use the demon emperor's energy quickly. The demon emperors endured the pain in their bodies. The demon emperor's bloodline surged. The totem patterns on their faces shone brightly, and an incomparably dark spiritual light appeared. The demon emperor's energy in their bodies also rushed to their heads. A dark purple lightning instantly covered their bodies. Then, their bodies seemed to be unaffected by Lu Kuan's force field. They disappeared and gathered dozens of meters away. Unexpectedly, the fist shadows that filled the sky seemed to have teleported and appeared in the surroundings almost at the same time. Golden fists bombarded them, blasting away the bodies that they were trying to gather. Buzz, the dark purple light continued to flash, and the demon emperors disappeared again. However, this time, they were back to back with their arms wrapped around each other. The demon yuan energy that had fused with the black light intertwined with each other, as if they were one, wrapping their bodies. Faced with Lu Kuan's terrifying speed and strength, even if they could break free from the other party's force field and teleport, they would not be able to dodge the attack. These demon emperors simply used the energy bestowed by Lord Demon Venerable to cover their entire body, fusing the energy of the 4 demon emperors together to defend. Under the bombardment of the fist shadows that filled the sky, their mangled flesh and blood were constantly repairing themselves, trying to resist the terrifying attack with their powerful recovery ability. Suddenly, the surrounding golden fist shadows disappeared, and Lu Kuan's body that was full of golden blood vessels appeared in front of them. The muscles on his arms were twisted, and golden blades gushed out from his palms, forming a pair of golden sabers. Then, Lu Kuan turned into a golden whirlwind and circled around the demon emperors. Golden saber shadows slashed down, each with a stronger attack power than the previous fist shadows. The recovery speed of the 4 demon emperors' bodies was far from being able to keep up with the speed of their injuries. The muscles on their chests were gradually worn away, vaguely revealing the glowing internal organs underneath. What kind of energy is that black light gushing out from their totems? Although this energy is scarce, it can greatly increase the power of the demon emperor's demon yuan energy. Lu Kuan kept brandishing the snow-soul dual sabers. This pair of weapons had been recast by him with a violent bloodline of the Viscera origin stage. Each saber was equivalent to the previous dual sabers combined into one. Under the suppression of the powerful force field, these demon emperors could not absorb any demon yuan energy at all. They could only rely on the energy in their bodies and the strength of their bodies to resist. 10 breaths have passed. Although these demon emperors can only last 10 breaths with their special energy against the violent divine ability and the snow-souled dual sabers, my bloodline divine ability only has this much time left. After using it, there will be half of their blood yuan energy left. If they still have the energy to use the battle formation from before. At this moment, Lu Kuan's thoughts were interrupted. His senses spread throughout his body, and he suddenly realized that there was a surge of energy accumulating in his muscle fibers, bones, internal organs, and blood. His body felt like it was about to explode at any time. What's going on? My body's condition is not right. But the double helix structure is rather stable. I can at least last 10 breaths. Could this be the energy that was not fully expressed last time? The feeling of my internal organs exploding is just like the first time I used the full elemental power. My internal organs are exploding. Could it be? He seemed to have thought of something and stopped attacking. The snow-souled dual sabers turned into blades and entered his body again. They turned into a layer of golden armor and wrapped around the ball of internal organs. Lu Kuan hesitated for a moment. Then, he gritted his teeth and released the inexplicable energy that had accumulated in every part of his body. Boom! The senses that spread throughout his body seemed to have heard an explosion. The golden blood vessels on the surface of his body swelled even more. Those tiny blood vessels also appeared clearly. The force field outside his body became blurry and collapsed inwards rapidly. It seemed to be suppressing his body that was filled with an explosive aura. This energy, at this moment, Lu Kuan's eyes were filled with dense golden blood vessels. His lifeless golden eyes looked at the 4 demon emperors in front of him, and he raised his right fist that was filled with blood vessels. There was no golden light on this fist. There was only a thin layer of distorted force field. The speed of the punch was not fast. It could be seen with the naked eye. However, wherever it passed, a thick spatial crack was forcefully torn open. Rumble. In this world, a low thunder sound like a heavenly tribulation suddenly sounded. Then, a suffocating aura appeared in the sky. It was like a brilliant heavenly might. It seemed to be suppressing this seemingly ordinary human fist. The power of the realm. His attack has exceeded the limit of the realm. The power of a late-stage demon emperor? How is this possible? The 4 demon emperors felt the heavenly might and the shaking fist that tore the space apart. Their faces were filled with horror. The purple-black light on the surface of their bodies kept flickering. However, under the invisible pressure of the surrounding realm and the fist, their teleportation ability could not be used for a while. They could only stimulate all the remaining demonic yuan energy in their bodies. The 4 demon emperors were wrapped in purple-black light balls. Seeing this, Lu Kuan's face suddenly twisted. He seemed to be under great pressure. The muscles on his arm trembled. He opened his fist with some difficulty and turned it into a palm. A layer of vibrating force field appeared in his palm. Puffed! With this action, the blood vessels on the surface of his body broke one by one. Clouds of golden blood mist burst out and dyed his whole body golden. That ordinary palm was like a lover's caress. It gently patted the purple-black light outside the chest of a demon emperor. There were no violent shock waves or air waves. The 8 eyeballs of the 4 demon emperors burst into blood mist in an instant. There were dull explosions in their bodies, as if something had broken. However, at this moment, the totems on the faces of 3 of the demon emperors lit up. 3 balls of thick black light mixed with dark purple thunderballs all poured into the body of the Luo, demon emperor. This demon emperor's body seemed to be healed in an instant. The light around his body shone brightly. He disappeared and reappeared hundreds of feet away. Then, the force field around his body distorted, and he fled into the distance. The bodies of the remaining 3 demon emperors went limp. They were held back by an invisible force. Lu Kuan, who had turned into a golden blood man, floated next to him. The twisted and bursting golden blood vessels and the violent aura disappeared. Instead, there was a layer of pale golden light film on the surface of his skin. The terrifying heavenly might that seemed like the power of the realm seemed to have lost its target and gradually dissipated. Lu Kuan sensed this and breathed a sigh of relief. He opened his mouth slightly and spat out 3 balls of golden blood. They entered the bodies of the 3 demon emperors. Then, with a wave of his hand, he put away the 3 demon emperor corpses. Then, the light in his body shone brightly, and he shot in the direction of the Luo, demon emperor. His speed was obviously faster. Soon, the man and the demon emperor disappeared into the horizon, leaving behind a dark blue spatial crack. This spatial crack continued to split open under some kind of aftershock. It spread in all directions like a spider web until it reached hundreds of feet away. Hundreds of dark blue spatial cracks of different sizes intertwined to form some kind of special shape. From afar, it looked like an incomparably huge palm of the human race was silently imprinted in the air. Chapter 1376. Inside the Big Dipper Formation, almost all the cultivators' attention was attracted by the origin chi clouds in the sky. The trembling clouds and the cracks all indicated that this terrifying restriction was about to collapse. Through the gaps, the immortal cultivators could vaguely see a twisted, deep purple halo and several tall devils waving their weapons inside. Those demon kings have surrounded the Soul Formation seniors. 7 Soul Formation seniors and Abba Jiyuan are still unable to suppress them with the help of the Big Dipper Formation. The strength of the demon kings is actually so terrifying. Master Lu is holding back 4 stronger demon emperors by himself. Doesn't that mean he won't be able to hold on for long? What should we do? Just as these immortal cultivators were in a state of panic and worry, those tall devil kings suddenly flew backwards, revealing several figures flashing with golden light. Soon after, the violently vibrating origin chi cloud stabilized, and the cracks closed one after another. The restriction is back. Was that the Demon King's explosion? The Soul Formation seniors are controlling the situation again? That's great. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. But at this time, they felt a terrifying aura suddenly appear in their surroundings. Now, what's going on with the demonic fog? So much demonic origin chi appeared. A large amount of black light surged out from the demonic fog on the ground and gathered towards the battleship where the battle was taking place. The overwhelming devil primordial chi exuded a pressure comparable to the primordial chi manifestation. The immortal cultivators who were close to the devil primordial chi even had their dermic powers suppressed, and the magic treasures in the sky began to sway. This is the phenomenon of a demon king breakthrough. Which one of these demon generals broke through to the demon king level? A demon king breakthrough can't happen in such a short time. Not good. The demon kings above are making their move. Be careful. Just as these demonic origin chi phenomena appeared, the origin chi clouds in the sky that were about to close up shot out 6 extremely solid black light halos. Some are like giant hammers, some are like large sabers, and some are like crescent moons. Although they all had different shapes, they contained the terrifying origin chi manifestation power. These 6 terrifying Demon King's attacks were all aimed at the battleship where the battle was taking place. Buzz, the other great cultivators guarding the other 4 nodes of the array formation were the first to discover the attack in the sky. They raised their magic power and activated the spirit treasures in front of them. Rich vital energy pressure soared into the sky. A yellow hill, a green arrow, a fiery red snake, and a purple thunderball. For types of spells and abilities that contain concentrated vital energy shot out from the nodes. However, Yu Longfei and Lu Jinyuan were currently restraining the 10 late-stage demon generals. In the face of this sudden situation, They had no choice but to overdraw their nascent soul's source and barely managed to shoot out an ice blade and a golden sword. Because they were hastily cast, the amount of Yuan Qi contained in these two Yuan Qi manifestation spells was less than half of what it had been before. The 6 divine powers, which were comparable to the full power strike of a pseudo-soul formation stage cultivator, clashed with the Devil King's attack and formed a colorful ball of light in the air. Boom! In just a breath's time, the ball of energy exploded and 6 different colored energy waves rolled out in all directions. Then, 5 black figures rushed out from the center of the energy waves and flew toward the battleship below. Among them, the axe and hammer shadows were the most solid, while the other 3 turned into black balls of light. Although the weakest Demon King's attack was completely destroyed, due to Yu Longfei and Lu Jinyuan's hasty casting, the axe and hammer shadows contain at least half of their power. In the face of a soul formation stage cultivator's attack, the cultivators and demons near the battleship immediately retreated. Under the pressure of the origin Qi manifestation, their magic power and demonic power were greatly suppressed. Not to mention the attacks of their magic treasures, even the power of their magic power shields would be greatly reduced. However, at this moment, the cultivators suddenly discovered that there was an extremely burly demon left at the front of the battleship. He was tall and large, and his eyes were closed. There were streaks of purplish-black lightning curling around the scales on his body. The surrounding demonic Yuan Qi was converging toward his body, but this terrifying energy didn't enter his body. Instead, it formed a series of extremely solid black halos 3 feet around his body. Within these black halos was a layer of twisted force field. Just as the 5 remaining Demon King's attacks were about to reach the battleship, the Demon General abruptly opened his eyes. The invisible force field around his body swept up the surrounding demonic Yuan Qi halos and quickly collapsed inward. It fused with the purplish-black lightning on the surface of his body, forming a purplish-black film of light over his scales. Then he raised his fists into the air, and the 5 Demon King's halos seemed to be attracted by something. They arced through the air and disappeared into his fists, fusing together to form 2 solid fists 3 feet in diameter in the blink of an eye. The scales and joints on the fists were clearly visible, and there were even bone spikes on the surface of the fists. Countless profound demonic patterns were engraved on the surface of the fists, and a terrifying aura unique to the origin Qi manifestation began to emanate. Roar. An earth-shattering roar suddenly rang out, and a 20-foot-tall demon ape shot out from below the battleship. As it ran through the air, the surrounding demonic Yuan Qi rapidly converged toward it, forming a black and a white pair of massive halos in its fists. Although the ape's fists contained extremely dense Yuan Qi, it seemed to be unable to truly condense. The halos inside tumbled and shrank, as if they were at the critical point of some kind of power. The tall demon general's expression changed slightly when he sensed the aura of the demon ape. He waved his giant fists and turned to meet the attack. At this moment, a powerful bloodline power suddenly surged out of the demon ape's body. The black and white Yuan Qi on its fists seemed to break through some kind of limit and quickly condensed into giant black and white fists. The palm lines and hair on the fists could be clearly seen. Violent Yuan Qi energy clashed with each other, and the monkey and demon's Yuan Qi fists came to a stalemate. Waves of Yuan Qi surged in all directions. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening explosion, the man and demon were sent flying back at the same time. The tall demon general stumbled back on the deck, and every step he took created a loud sound. He retreated several hundred feet. The power of a demon emperor? How is it possible? His purplish-black pupils flashed with disbelief. He raised his head and saw that as the demonic ape flew backwards, its body was constantly shrinking. It went from 20 feet tall to a golden-furred monkey that was only a few feet tall before it fell into the demonic mist. Seeing this, the demon general's expression relaxed a lot. He didn't have time to think about the origin of the demon ape. Demonic light flashed in his hand, and a huge, flat broadsword appeared. Under the effect of the light film surging with purple-black lightning, a large amount of demonic yuan energy converged, forming a layer of solid yuan energy blades outside the demonic weapon. He raised his thick demonic arm high and slashed at the battleship below him. Immediately, the hard deck of the battleship was left with a series of slashes. Not far away, Lu Jinyuan and Yu Longfei activated their spirit treasure replica again. A blue ice blade and a golden sword shot out. Unexpectedly, the fake demon emperor stretched out his other hand, and a demonic axe appeared in his hand. It flashed with the same purple-black lightning energy. When the ice blade and the golden sword approached each other, the yuan qi inside began to dissipate. Crack! When the two sides collided, the two yuan qi manifestation divine powers were directly shattered by the axe. The dissipated yuan qi then gathered on the demonic axe under the effect of some kind of force, forming a yuan qi axe blade that heavily slashed at the deck. Seeing this, some of the more knowledgeable cultivators suddenly thought of something, and their faces were filled with horror. A demon that can control yuan qi. Could it be a demon emperor? No, a demon emperor is much more terrifying than a demon king. I'm afraid this is a fake demon emperor. In the immortal cultivation world, his combat power is not inferior to a real demon king. Accompanied by more than 10 slashing sounds, a huge crack appeared on the deck and quickly expanded. The fake demon emperor's face was ferocious. The demonic weapon in his hand flashed, and two solid black and white yuan qi blades were shot at the crack. Then there were screams coming from inside, and many of the spirit lights on the battleship dimmed instantly. Buzz, the light beam above the ice element array node also dimmed, and the yuan qi cloud in the sky shook slightly, but it was not particularly violent. It seemed that it was still a little bit away from collapsing. The fake demon emperor on the deck was about to continue attacking the cabin, but after seeing this scene, he was stunned. He jumped into the air and shot toward the neighboring battleship where Lu Jinyuan was. He ran in the air, stepping on the void with his feet, as if he could borrow the air for strength. But at this moment, the demon spirit yuan qi in the middle of the two battleships seemed to be greatly stimulated. It kept gathering from the demonic fog and above, forming circles of black and white yuan qi halos that surrounded the fake demon emperor's body. The fake demon emperor was stunned for a moment, and then the purple-black energy in his body trembled. These yuan qi halos shattered, but the surrounding demon spirit yuan qi seemed to be endless, gathering one after another. This speed exceeded the speed of destruction, and he was trapped in place for a while. Roar! Suddenly, a deep dragon roar resounded throughout the battlefield. All the human cultivators and even the excited demons were stunned and couldn't help but look at the source of the sound. In the demonic fog below the fake demon emperor, two bright lanterns, one purple and one black, appeared. Accompanied by the fog, a huge dragon head rushed out. The purple and black lanterns were the dragon's eyes. The purple eye exuded an extremely brutal aura, and the black eye flashed with an unyielding will. This dragon head was wrapped in a layer of purple-black scales, and the pair of antlers on its head were like two rugged bone spurs, looking extremely evil. Below the dragon head, there was a thick snake-like body more than 300 feet long. Its whole body was covered in purple-black scales, and it had 5 dragon claws. On the knuckles of the claws, there were also bone spurs of different sizes. Around its body, there was a 4-foot twisting force field. The black and white demon spirit yuan qi gathered from the demonic fog below and in the air, mixing in this twisting force field like a 2-color cloud. This giant dragon seemed to be wandering in the black and white yuan qi cloud, exuding an awe-inspiring majesty. Chapter 1377. A giant dragon of more than 300 feet. This old man had the honor of seeing the true body of the Swanee Dragon King. It was only about 10 feet long. Could it be the legendary true dragon? But why is its aura so evil? The twisting force field around its body seems to be the power of a high-level body cultivator of the body refining pavilion. All the cultivators on the battlefield stared at the giant dragon in a daze. They had never seen such an incredible creature. It was like an evil true dragon that was a combination of body cultivator power, demon flesh, and the body of a true dragon. The surrounding demons were also stunned. The appearance and aura of the giant dragon in front of them were very similar to the demonic dragon of the demon realm. However, they only had the disciples of the sacred clan this time. There were no demonic beasts at all. It was rumored that the demonic dragon was transformed from the true dragon of this immortal realm. Could it be that the one in front of them was the descendant of the demonic dragon that had been left in this realm? But why did this demonic dragon have the force field of a demon king, just like those strange humans and the long-armed ape monkeys? What happened in this immortal realm? Why did the demonic ape, demonic dragon, and humans all have the force field of a demon king? The demons on the battlefield were all a bit confused. Everything they saw in this battle had completely overturned their understanding. Roar! In a loud dragon roar, the huge purple-black dragon body rushed toward the fake demon emperor in the light of vitality. As the evil demonic dragon approached, the surrounding demonic spirit vitality surged even more violently. Circles of black and white vitality halo surged out at an even faster speed. In a short while, it drowned the fake demon emperor that had just broken through, forming a black and white light cocoon. Suddenly, the demonic dragon opened its mouth. Two different kinds of will, one brutal and the other unyielding, soared into the sky. The black and white light cocoon that was more than 10 feet tall seemed to be strongly attracted and went straight into the dark mouth. This light cocoon was like a shining black and white dragon pearl that was bitten in the dragon's mouth. Then, the demonic dragon's crocodile-like jaws surged out the same twisting force field as its body, squeezing the black and white light cocoon. The latter's vitality halo quickly shrank and condensed. At the same time, balls of thick black liquid were secreted from the enormous dragon's mouth. Inside the liquid, there were traces of purple-black lightning. With an extremely greedy and evil aura, the liquid surged toward the gradually shrinking light cocoon. Then, the demonic dragon with purplish-black scales dove into the thick demonic mist. However, just as the dragon's body was about to disappear, the dragon tail with 5 bone spurs suddenly shook, throwing out 6 tiny bodies shining with silver light. With the help of this powerful swing, these figures rushed to the left side of the battleship at an astonishing speed. It was unknown whether the 5 late-stage devil generals who were facing Lu Jinyuan were shocked or confident in their strength, but they didn't dodge. Instead, they tightened their grip on the devil treasures in their hands and glanced at those figures. What a powerful cold aura! There's a faint corpse chi and cold yin energy. It seems to be the underworld insect clan. These figures seem to be 6 human cultivators for men and 2 women. Their bodies were wrapped in a layer of silver scale armor, and a faint corpse chi was emitted from the armor. They were sure yin and the 5 corpse kings of the middle underworld mountain. When they saw that the late-stage devil generals didn't dodge, they immediately waved their sharp nails and circulated the cold yin energy in their bodies to launch an attack. Bang bang, dang dang. Accompanied by the sounds of collisions, these 11 bodies of different sizes began to fight in close combat in midair. The high-level silver-armored corpse was comparable to a great cultivator and also had the strength of a million gene. In addition, the 5 corpse kings all had different attributes. In a one-on-one battle, they were not inferior to the late-stage devil generals. Together with Sure Yin, they quickly gained the upper hand. At the same time, on the right side of the battleship, from the demonic fog below the 5 late-stage devil generals confronting Yulong Fei, 5 burly figures suddenly rushed out. They stepped on the void, their bodies shining with the light of hundreds of treasures. Their speed was astonishing. These late-stage devil generals were distracted by the demonic dragon and silver-armored corpse on the other side, so they didn't have time to notice and were directly surrounded by these 5 humans. Demon King Force Field, be careful, it's those strange humans. Although the 5 late-stage devil generals were startled, there was no fear in their eyes. Thick demonic energy surged in their bodies, absorbing the surrounding demonic yuan qi, dyeing their weapons and bodies with a layer of halo. Not long ago, they had seen the brawny man's battle and knew that these strange humans had the Demon King Force Field. In a situation where they couldn't borrow strength from the void, they would be at a disadvantage. Therefore, they floated back to back in the air, counteracting each other's recoil. But just as these late-stage devil generals raised their demonic treasures and prepared to meet the attack, they saw a 3-meter-tall and 5-meter-wide curved stone tablet appear in front of the 5 humans. Wong, amidst the muffled rumbling in the air, a terrifying invisible force suddenly gushed out from the front of the 5 stone steels, pressing in from 5 different directions. These 5 late-stage devil generals were almost instantly submerged in a circle of distorted air, the powerful squeezing force unceasingly attacking their demonic bodies. The demonic treasures in the hands of 2 demon generals even accidentally slipped out of their hands. Under the effect of the intertwining pressure, they slid out of the force field. The remaining demon generals put away their demonic treasures in time to avoid losing them. Under the pressure of the terrifying force field, they were completely unable to move. Their arms were raised high, maintaining their attacking posture, while their bodies were completely exposed to the squeezing force. The scales on their bodies were even slowly collapsing. These devil generals closed their eyes, but their scale-covered eyelids were trembling. Their hearts were filled with fear. A long-range force field exceeding 1,000,000 gene. What kind of treasures are these 5 stone tablets? They can actually use the Demon King's divine ability. Damn it, the demonic yuan qi has been isolated. I can't absorb it. Calm down. These 5 have not reached the Demon King realm. They can't maintain this divine ability for a long time. Yes, use the thick demonic power to resist and hold on. With this thought in mind, the 5 late-stage devil generals calmed down. They concentrated on mobilizing the thick demonic power in their bodies, adding it to the scales on their bodies, forming a layer of demonic power light film to resist the endless squeezing force. The 5 people around them were Li Qianfeng and the other second-generation bone transformation disciples. After seeing their opponents trapped by the 5 origin-level stone tablets, they let out a sigh of relief. Then the air beneath their feet slightly distorted as they stepped into the void, bringing the 5 origin-level stone tablets with them as they flew towards the distant metal attribute array formation node. The 2 teams on the left and right of the battleship had a total of 10 late-stage devil generals. The moment the dragon entered the demonic fog, they were simultaneously attacked. The several dozen devil generals that had just left the battleship to avoid the yuan qi manifestation were all shocked. They wanted to rush to their rescue as soon as possible. But at this time, from the demonic fog beneath their feet, a body shimmering with golden light flew out. It contained a terrifying sharpness, like a human-shaped sword. With unparalleled speed, it rushed into the group of devil generals. Rip! Several early-stage devil generals were grazed by this sword light, and the scales on their waist and abdomen cracked. The rest of the devil generals tried to attack with their demonic treasures, but who knew that this human-shaped sword was not only astonishingly fast, but also had a twisting force field around it, making its movements extremely agile. Rumble. Immediately afterward, a burly man, whose body size was no less than that of a demon, rushed out of the demonic fog. His body surface was twisted with a layer of earthy, yellow force field. His arms hugged his head, and he was like a rock as he rushed into the crowd of demons. The demon generals on both sides of his body instantly felt their body weight increase by 100-fold. Although the burly man's charging speed was relatively slow, the change in weight caused the demon treasures they were brandishing to miss their target. And the devil general in front of the burly man found that his body weight seemed to have disappeared, and he was easily knocked away. For a time, The several dozen devil generals were thrown into chaos by the two figures, one fast and one slow. From the appearance of the evil demonic dragon to the entanglement of the 10 late-stage devil generals, and then to the chaos of the devil army, everything that happened in a flash dazzled the surrounding immortal cultivators. But they soon came back to their senses. Each and every one of them looked excited. The magic power in their bodies surged, and magic treasures and spells all over the sky rushed into the group of devil generals that had turned the sky upside down. At this time, even a fool could see that the terrifying evil demonic dragon was the trump card of the body refining pavilion. In other words, from the beginning of the battle until now, the body refining pavilion had not only dealt with all the late-stage devil generals, but also took away a newly promoted fake demon emperor. And Master Lu had entangled 4 demon emperors by himself. The combat strength of a human body cultivator was so terrifying. Chapter 1378. The 5 late-stage demon generals who were trapped by the stone steels heaved a sigh of relief when they found that they could still hold on for a while. According to their deduction, since the demon kings could break the restriction once, they could do it a second time. The quasi-soul formation stage cultivator's vital essence was far inferior to that of the orthodox soul formation stage cultivators. They could not fight for a long time. As long as they could hold on, there would be a chance to turn the situation around. Then, the demon generals released their divine senses and found that the scene around them was changing rapidly. Their expressions changed. Obviously, the other party wanted to borrow the power of the other cultivators to attack them. Therefore, their divine senses went around the stone steels and rushed toward the 5 human cultivators who were suspected to be activating the stone steels. They tried to interfere with their divine senses. But then, they found that the heads of the 5 human cultivators were empty. It seemed that there were only skulls and scalps. Not to mention the sea of consciousness, there was not even a brain. The divine senses attack directly missed. When they wanted to continue to investigate, the other party's physical body surged with terrifying chi and blood, forming a faint crystal blood membrane on the surface of the body. Their divine senses were immediately greatly hindered. These humans don't have sea of consciousness. The chi and blood are so vigorous. The demon generals were about to continue to probe when they suddenly felt a terrifying sharp force rising not far away. They could not help but look over with their divine senses. In front of them was a metal element array node. At the front of one of the battleships, there was an ordinary-looking middle-aged man. Behind him, there were 18 core formation stage cultivators sitting cross-legged. They formed a special formation. Waves of demonic chi intertwined with each other. The demonic chi in the middle-aged man's body was surging. He had almost reached the peak of the nascent soul stage. His 10 fingers were flashing nonstop, forming sword seals containing sharp power in the sky. Above his head, there were 18 extremely thick golden sword lights. These sword lights were of different lengths. The shortest was 5 feet long, and the longest was 7 feet long. The dense primordial chi in this node gradually gathered together with the middle-aged man's sword technique, and the 18 thick sword lights were dyed with a faint golden halo. Sword array. The complexions of these late-stage demon generals changed drastically. Right now, they were being controlled by the 5 stone tablets and were unable to dodge or resist. If they were to fall into the sword array, wouldn't that be the same as being live targets? At this moment, a stone tablet was suddenly taken out by the female cultivator behind him. The pentagonal array had turned into a quadrangular array. One of the 5 squeezing forces had disappeared, causing the squeezing forces inside to become chaotic. The late-stage devil general who was facing the gap immediately felt 4 terrifying waves of chi attack his back. His tall devil body was sent flying by these berserk forces. Not good. Before this late-stage devil general could stabilize his body, he saw a sky full of golden sword lights. These incomparably thick sword lights formed a dense and bloated sword formation, enveloping him. A demonic light flashed, and a demonic blade appeared in his hand. The demonic power in his body was tumbling, trying to absorb the surrounding demonic aura. But to his surprise, the black halo around him trembled and did not gather towards him. Instead, under the inexplicable restriction of the sword array, it surged towards the 18 sword lights, dyeing them a dark gold color. The late-stage Devil General's expression changed. He could feel the terrifying might contained within these sword lights. Other than the sword lights that were imbued with demonic aura, there was also an intense treasure light within. Every sword light was a top-grade sword treasure. Clang clang. Accompanied by countless sword hums, the 18 thick sword lights rushed over from all directions. The late-stage Devil General did not dare to receive them head-on. With a turn of his body, he dodged the first sword light from the side. Following that, he raised the demonic treasure in his hand, attempting to deflect the second sword light from the front. But at this moment, the first thick sword light curved in an unimaginable manner, as if it had a life of its own. There was even a rich blood energy within it. It was like a contracting spring, as the rich dark gold sword light curved and condensed into a dark gold sphere of light. When it bounced up, it brought with it a strong gust of wind. With astonishing speed, the golden sphere of light struck the scales on the back of the Devil General's waist. Almost at the same time, the sword light in front of the Demon General that was about to be struck by the demonic saber also curled up. As it shrank and expanded, a dark golden ball of sword light crashed into the chest of the Demon General that was covered in purplish-black scales. Boom! Boom! 2 destructive sword beams exploded. Other than the destructive power of the Yuan Qi within, they also seemed to contain considerable strength. They shattered the scales on the back of the Devil General's waist and chest. Following that, the remaining sword lights transformed into tiny sword beams that pierced through the cracks in the scales, piercing into the flesh beneath. The Devil General let out a painful howl as the demonic power in his body tumbled as he attempted to flee into the distance. However, at this moment, his consciousness suddenly discovered that the 2 thick sword lights that had struck him had turned into 2 humans. This, just as he was in a daze, the next dark gold sword light struck him. Boom, boom, boom. 1 thick sword light after another struck the Devil General's body in the same manner. The late-stage Devil General's body was struck by countless destructive sword beams. His flesh and blood were constantly being torn apart. There was even an evil energy that attempted to devour the essence of his flesh and blood. Amidst the dense sword light, he seemed to have given up on resisting. His consciousness chased after the human-shaped swords. The fleshly bodies of the humans who were struck by the sword light drew an arc in the air and returned to the battleship one after another. Under the middle-aged man's sword incantation, the fleshly bodies were dyed golden again and turned back into thick sword light. They charged into the sword formation again. Using the body as a sword treasure, in a trance, the Devil General was blasted away by the terrifying destructive power. From the corner of his blurry eyes, he saw the human woman who had been controlling the stone tablet. She floated outside the sword array, a force field twisting around her. Her arms were crossed as she quietly looked at him. The cold gaze in her eyes was the same as how they looked at humans. Boom! After more than 10 sword lights bombarded him consecutively, the body of this late-stage Demon General was in tatters. Under the effects of the surrounding sword formation, the demon nascent soul in his body was unable to teleport and was directly shattered in his dantian by the concentrated sword lights. His broken corpse was taken into the hands of the female, lead outside the sword array. Then, these human-shaped swords returned to the battleship one by one and were dyed with a dazzling golden light again. The square array that had turned into a 4-elemental stone tablet had another opening, and a late-stage Devil General was ejected high up in the sky of the Big Dipper formation, within the Vital Chi cloud restriction. The Devil Kings could clearly sense that there was a flaw in the restriction formation. Even the barriers around the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators had dimmed a little. This meant that the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivator had not only succeeded in breaking through, but also destroyed one of the battleships. But as time passed, there were no other changes to the array. The Devil Kings immediately felt strange. The fake Demon Emperor's strength in this realm was not inferior to the Devil Kings. The cultivators below could not resist at all. This time, it was enough to destroy the Big Dipper array. It was not like now that there were no changes. Could it be that the human race had a hidden, fake soul formation cultivator? Not to mention one fake soul formation cultivator. Even two fake soul formation cultivators were no match for the fake Demon Emperor. Just as the Devil Kings were deep in thought, the totems on their faces suddenly flashed 3 times in a row. They were stunned at first. Then, they revealed a look of horror. The Demon Emperor's divine soul has been destroyed. No matter how powerful that monster is, it is at most the realm's limit. 3 Demon Emperors died at the same time. How is this possible? Now, only the Luo Yu Demon Emperor is still alive. He may be struggling to hold on and needs our help. Maybe that monster is also seriously injured. No matter what, we have to get out of here. We can only overdraw our devil chi and physical origin. The 6 Devil Kings gritted their teeth, and their bodies all trembled. Their strong bodies quickly shrank as if they had lost half of their flesh. As their bodies shrank, the purple-black lightning on the surface of their bodies suddenly became dazzling. Then, the lightning energy and devil chi all surged into the demonic artifacts in their hands. The front of these demonic artifacts suddenly appeared with extremely solid weapon shadows. These shadows continued to extend until they were 100 feet long. A horrifying power spread from within. The 6 gigantic vital chi sabers and hammers were waved by the Devil Kings and violently slammed into the barrier surrounding the fake soul formation cultivators in the middle. Boom! A terrifying wave of vital chi rolled out. Cracks appeared on this vital chi barrier almost instantly. Then, it shattered with a loud bang. The 6 vital chi sabers and hammers, which had dimmed significantly, then drowned the fake soul formation cultivators inside. Rumble, violent Yuan Qi energy overflowed in all directions. The surrounding Yuan Qi cloud restriction began to tremble, and cracks began to appear. These Devil Kings used some kind of secret technique to directly break the restriction of the Big Dipper formation. At this moment, these Devil Kings suddenly looked toward the west. Through the gradually splitting vital Qi cloud, they saw a dazzling golden body shooting toward them from the horizon, accompanied by an extremely violent intent. That monster is back. Our primordial spirits are damaged, and our physical bodies are overdrawn. We are no match for it. There is still some time. Let's take a few nascent souls and recover. These Devil Kings looked toward the center with ferocious eyes. Those fake soul formation cultivators had all survived the terrifying attack with the help of their golden armor. However, the golden armor outside their bodies had become extremely dim. As for fire spirit supremacy and ice spirit supremacy, their armor was tattered and hung on their bodies. They seemed to have completely lost their defensive power. In the next moment, 6 gigantic demonic artifacts shot over from afar. They split into 2 groups and charged toward the 2 fake soul formation cultivators from the 5 Spirits Temple. Boom! Fear appeared in Fire Spirit Supremacy and Ice Spirit Supremacy's eyes. They only had time to summon their vital chi before they were drowned by the thick black light. Their physical bodies were reduced to ashes. However, before the nascent souls inside could do anything, streaks of invisible power fell. The Devil Kings had come to the side. 2 of the Devil Kings opened their mouths and sucked the 2 nascent souls into their mouths. Then, the 6 Devil Kings ignored the remaining fake soul formation cultivators. They merged into one and fled into the distance at an astonishing speed. Chapter 1379. High up in the skies of the Broken Nation, 6 thinner demon kings were rapidly flying through the air. Some had looks of shock, some were panic-stricken, and some even revealed looks of despair. Our clansmen on the ground were actually defeated by that immortal cultivator. There's no trace of the fake Demon Emperor. For Demon Emperors tried their best, but they weren't able to wound him, and 3 of them even died. I fear this level of combat strength is similar to a late-stage demon emperor. It has surpassed the limits of this realm. What do we do? That fellow's speed is much faster than ours. Sooner or later he'll overtake us. The aura of the all-moon demon emperor's divine soul is still here. We can only hide ourselves and find all-moon. We have to find a way to inform the Demon Lord about the situation of this world. The leader, Blood Barbarian Demon King, said, "Bloodplate, we still have some demon energy left in our bodies. Divide our fake soul formation nascent souls into 6 sources and separate them to heal." A sturdy demon king nodded with a heavy expression. At the same time, deep purple lightning gushed out from his and Blood Barbarian's demon bodies, condensing within their bodies. The sturdy black nascent souls in their dantians each held a blue and a red nascent soul in their arms. Soon, traces of lightning energy gushed out from their dantians, surrounding the 2 nascent souls. But at this moment, an incomparably wild will rose up from the depths of the 2 nascent souls. A small mass of golden blood gushed out from them. Almost at the same time, the 2 nascent souls were plated with gold, as if they were wearing small armor that blocked out the deep purple lightning energy. Bloodplate and Blood Barbarian were stunned for a moment. Then, as they thought of something, their complexions suddenly changed. This is bad. They quickly opened their mouths, wanting to spit out the 2 nascent souls. But as a result, a small mass of golden blood separated from the 2 nascent souls at an astonishing speed. The golden blood stuck to the nascent souls of the 2 demon kings, causing the circulation of their demon essence to stagnate. Without the support of Bloodplate and Blood Barbarian's demon essence, the speed of the 6 demon kings' combined escape light was suddenly halved. The other 4 demon kings all looked over. They saw that Bloodplate and Blood Barbarian had pained expressions. The demon essence within their bodies was extremely unstable, and the true demon intent was tumbling about. Their bodies also emitted an incomparably wild will. That monster's will. How did it enter your bodies? Schwem Man's body shivered. He said with difficulty, "It's that monster. He tampered with the 2 nascent souls. Quick, split up and escape. Don't worry about us. Otherwise, only death awaits us." As they spoke, an incomparably wild will fell down from the heavens. Schweman and Schwepan's bodies violently trembled. They couldn't even control their bodies, and their demonic hands tried to grab at the other demon kings. "Let's go. Go into hiding and find the Luo Yu demon emperor. The next time the spatial rift opens, I must inform the sacred race of the situation here." Humiliation and unwillingness flashed in the eyes of the other 4 demon kings. Then the demonic chi in their bodies surged and shot off in 4 different directions. Leaving behind the bloodline and the blood plate, the 2 devil kings floated in the air, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. It was as if they had lost control of their devil yuan and body. Buzz, not long after, the demonic spirit Yuan Qi in the air started to roll and collapse inwards, forming 2 golden palms that were about 10 feet in size. The palm lines on these 2 giant palms were faintly visible. There were also strange twin spiral runes that shined on them, emitting an incomparably terrifying aura. One from the left and one from the back, bringing with it a violent wind as they grabbed the 2 demon kings. The surrounding space even rippled as these fingers slid about, creating faint blue sparks in the air. Then, a tall and sturdy man appeared, leaving behind afterimages. He stretched out his hands, and a fist-sized mass of golden blood gushed out from each of his palms. This mass of blood contained a wild will and a mystical aura as it struck towards the 2 demon kings trapped in the golden origin energy palms. Like blood dissolving in water, these 2 masses of blood turned into a blood mist that directly fused into the dark purple scales. The 2 demon kings immediately stopped struggling, only their eyes emitting an incomparably panicked light. Then, the tall and sturdy man waved his hand and took the 2 demon kings into his storage space. Then the air around him twisted, and he turned into a beam of golden light that chased after one of the demon kings. In the Big Dipper formation, the battle between the immortal cultivators and the demon race was coming to an end. Under the siege of the body refining pavilion's body cultivators and a large number of nascent soul cultivators, dozens of demon generals were utterly defeated. They were either dead or injured, and the rest were fleeing in all directions under the cover of the demonic fog. Just when the immortal cultivator's morale was greatly boosted, the origin energy cloud in the sky suddenly trembled violently, and a terrifying origin energy pressure rolled in the air. From the cracked restriction cloud, many immortal cultivators saw the two soul formation seniors' dharma bodies being shattered and their nascent souls being devoured. Immediately afterward, the 6 demon kings merged into a single streak of light and shot toward the eastern part of the formation. 2 soul formation seniors have fallen. The demon kings have the upper hand. Why are they running away? Suddenly, a golden figure appeared in the sky in the west. The air around it was distorted, and a tall and sturdy figure could be vaguely seen. It was chasing in the direction of the 6 demon kings at an astonishing speed. Just when the immortal cultivators were puzzled, Abba Ji Yuan's slightly tired voice suddenly came from the sky. The 4 demon emperors of the demon race have been killed, and the 6 demon kings have been greatly injured. They're being chased by Master Lu. We, the immortal cultivators, have won this great battle against the demon race. The immortal cultivators on the battlefield were in a daze at first, but then they cheered. Many of them were so excited that they shot colorful flames into the sky. Since the ancient times, the demon race had been a nightmare that lingered in the ears of high-level immortal cultivators. 70,000 years ago, the immortal cultivators joined forces with the demon race and barely repelled the demon race. But after that, the demon race was purged by the immortal cultivators and chased out of the land. The origin energy of heaven and earth in the immortal cultivation world gradually became turbid. Even if high-level immortal cultivators comprehended the power of will on their own, they could only cultivate to the pseudo-divine soul formation realm. The overall strength of the immortal cultivation world was much weaker than it was in the ancient times. But now, facing the invasion of 4 demon emperors, 6 demon kings, and hundreds of demon generals, the immortal cultivator army had won. Everyone knew that they were able to win because of the body refining pavilion. Pavilion Master Lu alone had annihilated 4 demon emperors. That was an existence that was even stronger than a demon king. Furthermore, after the battle, he still had the strength to chase after the remaining 6 demon kings. Apart from Master Lu, the strength of the other people in the body refining pavilion was also beyond imagination. The evil true dragon that was dozens of feet long, the demon monkey that transformed into a giant black ape, and the nascent soul realm body cultivator that had amazing magical powers. All of this was an eye-opener for them. Many of the nascent soul realm cultivators on the battlefield even had the thought of changing sections. Human body cultivators had higher combat strength than demons of the same level. With the existence of the body refining pavilion, they no longer had to fear the demons in this realm. Then, under the command of several pseudo-divine soul formation realm cultivators, the immortal cultivators began to clean up the battlefield. All the demon corpses, storage bracelets, demonic treasures, and other spoils of war were sorted out. And at this time, the bone transformation disciples of the body refining pavilion came to a place in the demonic fog. Xiao Jin sat on Pan Yan's shoulder, and the other body cultivators stood in a circle, looking forward nervously. A 300-foot-long purple-black demonic dragon crawled on the ground. The flesh on its body was trembling and twisting, like layers of thick liquid surging toward the dragon's head. As the layers of flesh shrank, the thick dragon bones below were gradually revealed. The top of the dragon's head flashed with light, as if it was an incomparably huge demonic treasure. However, its miniature array was very simple, with only one layer of sturdy array. Gradually, the evil and greedy aura mixed with the black liquid of the lavender flesh condensed in the dragon's jaw, gradually revealing two tall silhouettes. One of them was 9 feet tall, covered with thick purple-black scales, and the bone spurs on its joints were thicker than ordinary late-stage demon generals. It was the pseudo-demon emperor. His eyes were closed, as if he had fallen into a deep sleep. Suddenly, a burly bald man appeared beside him. His whole body was rolling with an unyielding will, and there were traces of purple-black lightning surging on the surface of his body. It was the great elder of the body refining pavilion, Hong Yintian. After a while, the energy fluctuations gradually disappeared. He opened his eyes, and his pitch-black pupils looked at the dumbfounded pseudo-demon emperor's body beside him, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. My half a year of preparation was not in vain. I caught this new pseudo-demon emperor alive. Then, Hong Yintian waved one hand, and the dragon bones on the ground, as well as the pseudo-demon emperor's body beside him, disappeared. He said calmly, "Shao Jin and I will enter the demonic fog and count the number of remaining demons. The rest of you will go to the immortal cultivators. Don't let them kill the seriously injured demon generals. Capture them alive if you can. Now, every living demon is a treasure of the body, refining pavilion. Yes, great elder." Chapter 1380. In the Broken Kingdom, on the vast surface of the Guiyuan River, numerous gigantic Big Dipper battleships floated. They were arranged along the river, each spaced a few hundred miles apart. Together, the 36 battleships ran through the entire Guiyuan River. Tens of thousands of cultivators flew back and forth between the battleships. Most of them were Foundation Establishment cultivators, but there were also quite a few core formation cultivators. Under the arrangement of the nascent soul cultivators, they built small islands between the Big Dipper battleships in an orderly manner. As time passed, these man-made islands gradually flashed with the light of restrictions. They intersected with each other and connected with the Big Dipper battleships, forming a 1,000-mile-long restriction zone floating on the Guiyuan River. This extremely long and narrow restriction zone ran through the Guiyuan River, from a northern border of the Broken Kingdom to the southern entrance of the Broken Kingdom. It seemed to have divided the Broken Kingdom into two halves. The original Big Dipper 36 formation at the entrance had disappeared, but the formation islands were still there. The cultivators in the distance would occasionally look in this direction with reverence in their eyes. The largest island was very eye-catching. The demonic Yuan Qi on the east and west banks of the Guiyuan River was constantly converging here, forming a funnel-shaped Yuan Qi vortex. The dense Yuan Qi energy was injected into a cave dwelling in the center of the island. In the cave dwelling, a burly man was sitting cross-legged. The thick black and white Yuan Qi halos were surging in from all directions. When they were within 10 feet of him, they all turned into a golden halo and entered his body. This man was the current strongest cultivator in the cultivation world, the owner of the body refining pavilion, Lu Kuan. After an unknown period of time, he slowly opened his eyes. 2 rays of golden light with a violent aura flashed in his eyes. The Yuan Qi halo around him gradually dissipated, turning into pure demonic Qi and spiritual Qi and dissipating. Lu Kuan slowly exhaled. Feeling the replenished blood essence in his body, he sighed. I didn't expect that the Berserk God art could not only greatly increase one's senses, but also accumulate blood essence in the body. This energy can only be released after 10 breaths of time after the Berserk God art is used. When I tested this divine ability in the North Pole Mountain, I only maintained it for 10 breaths of time. Moreover, I didn't have enough blood essence, so the energy didn't come out. That's why I felt like I hadn't had enough. Why don't we call this accumulated bloodline energy berserk force? With its support, my physical strength has doubled, reaching the level of 4th Yuan. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with fear. 4th Yuan force is truly terrifying. Although I can only unleash one attack, my current physical body is still unable to withstand it. Compared to back then when I forcefully unleashed 1st Yuan force, the risk is several times greater. At that time, when Lu Kuan unleashed his berserk power, his Zhang Yuan stage body felt as if it would explode at any moment. If it weren't for his quick reaction and stabilizing himself with several methods, he would have been smashed to pieces before he could even attack. When the berserk power erupted, his internal organs, bones, muscles, and blood were all under a great burden. Lu Kuan's internal organs had been tempered by various spiritual shockwaves. In addition to his breakthrough in the Zhang Yuan stage, he was able to withstand the dual Yuan force. However, in the face of the terrifying fourth Yuan force, he relied on the upgraded Snow Soul dual blades to barely stabilize himself and not collapse. Due to the Silver Dragon meteorite iron in his body, his bones were tougher than a normal body cultivator's. It was the part of his body that had the least pressure. As for his muscles and blood, Lu Kuan used the inspiration of his breakthrough in the middle stage of bone change to compress his physical body's source strength. With the same invisible force of fourth Yuan force, he squeezed his muscles and blood inwardly, preventing them from collapsing immediately. Therefore, when the Berserk Divine ability unleashed this fourth Yuan force, there was only a thin layer of the source force field. Even so, after he forcefully unleashed the vibrating origin palm, his muscle fibers and blood vessels still burst. Fortunately, after putting away the Berserk Divine ability, the broken muscle fibers and blood vessels could be quickly repaired through the transformation of flesh and blood. It didn't affect his subsequent combat effectiveness. The pressure that appeared between heaven and earth at that time should be the power of the realm, as if it wanted to squeeze me out of this realm. Lu Kuan recalled the words of the several demon emperors and the terrifying pressure that appeared between heaven and earth at that time, revealing a thoughtful look. The single Yuan force is the power of the early stage demon emperor. The dual Yuan force is the middle stage demon emperor, and it has reached the limit of this realm. The fourth Yuan force has exceeded the limit of the realm and reached the level of the late stage demon emperor. In that case, every small realm of the demon emperor is double the power gap. Then is the strength gap of the three small realms of the orthodox divine transformation stage the same? If I ascend to the upper realm, my normal strength is equivalent to the middle stage demon emperor, and my combat effectiveness is higher than the middle stage divine transformation stage. If I use the Berserk Divine ability, I can fight against the late stage divine transformation stage. Even if I can't win, I can protect myself. At this moment, he suddenly thought of a problem. The single Yuan force, dual Yuan force, and four Yuan force respectively correspond to the early, middle, and late stage demon emperor. By analogy, every small realm of the divine transformation stage should have a strength gap of twice, which is much higher than the small realms of the core formation and nascent soul stage. The gap between the void refining stage and the divine transformation stage must be far greater than that of the divine transformation stage and nascent soul stage. The void refining stage, he couldn't help but murmur. Where will the void refining stage of the body cultivator be? The origin force of the body appeared in the bone transformation stage, and the bloodline primordial spirit was formed in the Zhang Yuan stage. What special changes will there be when it is equivalent to the void refining stage? Lu Kuan's hands couldn't help but clench into fists. Although the path of body refinement after the Zhang Yuan stage was dark, his eyes shone with a scorching golden light, as if illuminating the dark path of body refinement ahead. After a while, he slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and thought about his current situation. According to the information left by Senior Li Beiyuan in the North Pole Mountain, after the Yuan sect ascended, the limit that this realm can accommodate is the middle stage of the divine transformation stage. My current strength is equivalent to the middle stage of the demon emperor, which is equivalent to the middle stage of the divine transformation stage. I'm already at the limit of this realm. Even if I deduce the cultivation method of the Zhang Yuan stage, under the suppression of the power of this realm, I can't enter the middle stage of the Zhang Yuan stage. With the strong defense of the body and the origin force field distorting the power of space, it shouldn't be a problem to pass through the reverse spirit channel. However, I'm only 540 years old and have sufficient lifespan. To be safe, I should cultivate to the peak of the early stage of the Zhongyuan stage and arrange everything in the body refining pavilion. It would be best to cultivate more than 2 Zhongyuan body refining cultivators before ascending to the upper world. Thinking of this, he waved one hand, and 10 demon corpses appeared on the ground in front of him. 4 demon emperors and 6 demon kings were all lying there quietly. Between the gaps of the scales on the surface of each demon corpse, there were flashing golden threads, which were full of violent intent. They were like fishing nets that trapped these strong corpses. It was not in vain that I borrowed the power of the 4 elements to forcibly use the vibrating origin palm. The corpses of these demon emperors are still considered intact. He looked at the demon emperor with the strongest physique, and a smile appeared on his face. The flesh spirit is simply the nemesis of the demon race. Even if this demon emperor swallowed the souls of the other 3 demon emperors, there was no way to resist the violent bloodline origin spirit. His soul was imprisoned in his internal organs. As for the other 6 demon kings, only 2 of their origin spirits and nascent souls were destroyed. The rest were sealed by the flesh spirit. At the Zhongyuan stage, the suppression of the higher realm of body refining on the lower realm is much stronger than I imagined. Apart from these high-level demons, the biggest gain should be this. Lu Kuan stretched out his hand, and 2 miniature nascent souls wrapped in golden armor appeared in front of him. Humph! 5 spirits temple 2 venerables. If it was not for the fact that Lu was not confident to face the invasion of the demon race alone, he would have killed you 80 years ago. You probably didn't expect that the flesh-bone armor could not only strengthen your physical defense, but also protect your nascent souls. Moreover, as long as I extract the berserk primordial spirit from within, the demonic spirit primordial chi within the blood origin will violently clash and produce a terrifying destructive power. Once you wear my flesh and bone armor, your life and death will no longer be under your control. When the 6 demon kings attacked and broke the defense of the false divine transformation realm, under the control of the bloodline origin spirit, more than half of the flesh-bone armor of Fire Spirit Venerable and Ice Spirit Venerable were hidden in the corpses of the 2 false divine transformation realm experts. After their corpses were destroyed by the demon kings, the remaining flesh-bone armor took the opportunity to enter their nascent souls and suppress their origin spirits with the powerful, violent bloodline origin spirit. After they were swallowed by the demon kings, they were used as mediums to control the corpses of the 2 demon kings. At the Zhongyuan stage, with the help of the powerful bloodline origin spirit, Lu Kuan's flesh-bone armor and the flesh spirit venerable's flesh spirit origin spirit could unleash terrifying abilities. Although condensing the flesh-bone armor consumed a lot of his bloodline origin spirit, due to his 9-star physique and dual attribute willpower, his origin spirit could recover very quickly. Looking at the 2 nascent souls that seemed to be asleep, the corner of Lu Kuan's mouth slightly raised. With these 2 nascent souls and Wu Wenxuan's demon nascent soul, Ian Er's chances of breaking through to Metal Elite Zombie have increased by a lot. Chapter 1381. Several months later, the formation on the Guiyuan River was completed. 36 Big Dipper battleships and 108 man-made islands resonated with each other, forming a black and white mist in the sky that soared into the clouds. The seal on the Yuan sect was gone, and the strange demonic mist of the demon race was working. The western part of the demonic mist was filled with demon chi, while the eastern part was filled with pure spirit chi. Looking from the sky, the black and white mist seal above the Guiyuan River divided the country into 2 distinct black and white regions. At the northernmost part of the Guiyuan River, a large amount of icy water flowed out of the countless ice cracks. The water fell on the surface of the river 1,000 feet below, creating clouds of cold mist that intertwined with the black and white mist in the sky. In the sky above the river, 7 cultivators floated in the black and white mist. The leader was Lu Kuan, the owner of the body refining pavilion. The remaining 5 pseudo-soul formation realm cultivators and Abbot Ji Yuan were behind him. Fairy Beihan held a jade plate in her hand. As she cast spells, a few ice islands on the river lit up with light blue light. She heaved a sigh of relief and said, "Master Lu, the last 3 islands are fine. The seal on the Guiyuan River has been completed. It has divided the broken country into 2 regions, the east and the west." Lu Kuan nodded and said, "From now on, the region to the west of the Guiyuan River will be called the Realm of Shattered Demons, and the east will be called the Realm of Shattered Spirits." Then he glanced at the crowd and said, "The Realm of Demons belongs to the Body Refining Pavilion. It is where the Body Refining Pavilion keeps the demon race. If the other demon sects want to explore the Realm of Demons, they will have to ask for permission from the Body Refining Pavilion." The other pseudo-soul formation realm cultivators didn't have any objections. They didn't need the resources of the Realm of Demons. Even if Lu Kuan gave them the resources, they wouldn't dare to take them. There were still many demon generals in the Realm of Demons. If another demon king appeared, only the Body Refining Pavilion had the power to take him down. Lu Kuan looked at the black and white fog restriction in the sky and continued. The Guiyuan River is the border between the Realm of Shattered Demons and the Realm of Spirit. The 36 Heavenly Dipper battleships can only be controlled by sects with Divine Transformation Realm cultivators, so that they can pass down the method of activating the Heavenly Dipper 36 formation. The remaining 108 islands will be managed by the 36 most powerful sects in the cultivation world. Aside from the Arctic mountain range, the rest of the resources in the Realm of Shattered Spirit can be developed by these 36 sections. What do you think? The few pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators thought carefully and nodded in agreement. "I have no objections. No sect would refuse to guard the borders of the demon realm in exchange for resources from the spirit realm." Abbot Ji Yuan hesitated for a moment before saying, "Master Lu, if there is a demonic sect among these 36 sects," Lu Kuan said with a serious face, "you all saw how Wu Wenxuan was killed by a fake fiend emperor. A soul formation demon cultivator is almost defenseless against a fiend king. Also, the number of Yuan jade pendants is limited and the method of making them has been lost. In order to prevent the fiend souls from infiltrating the borders, the 36 sects will not allow any demonic sects to exist. If the demonic sects want to develop, they can become a subordinate sect of the Body Refining Pavilion. We will provide them with exquisite demonic arts so that they can control the dangerous path of demonic cultivation." Abbot Ji Yuan was about to say something, but in the end, he heaved a sigh. As for the other pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators, none of them had any objections. As for how to determine the ranking of the 36 sects, send the disciples to discuss it. Then Lu Kuan turned to look at the land that was filled with spatial rifts and sighed with emotion. He sighed and said, "After the war between the infernal insects and the fiend race, many islands and continents have disappeared. According to Beihan Fairy, the other side of the far north is where the real battle between the immortal cultivators and the fiend race took place in the ancient times. Just like the Great Whirlpool, that place is not suitable for humans to live. The only real habitat for humans is the land under our feet. The far north, the Broken Nation, the Great Zhou Dynasty, the Southwest, and the 13 countries of Dongyan. Other than this land, the rest of the realm of cultivation is the ocean." The pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators listened attentively. They knew all this, but they didn't understand why Lu Kuan mentioned it. Abbot Ji Yuan's eyes flashed with understanding. Lu Kuan continued, "According to Lu's estimation, the area of the ocean is at least 10 times larger than the land." Then he turned around and looked at the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators and said, "So, Lu wants to announce the new method of making artifact spirit roots developed by the Body Refining Pavilion. The core material is not fiend cores, but monster cores." Gu Deming and the other soul formation cultivators were shocked at first, but then they were surprised. A method of making artifact spirit roots out of thin air? Replace it with monster cores. The ocean is vast, and the number of sea monsters below level 8 is shocking. Those sea monsters are not intelligent, and they don't belong to the sea monsters. Even if we kill them, they won't interfere. This solves the problem of the material for artifact spirit roots. When they received the method of making fiend cores and artifact spirit roots, they had already guessed it. However, the method of making artifact spirit roots was related to the body refining art, and they didn't have enough conditions to study the feasibility of making monster cores. They didn't expect that Master Lu would release it directly. Lu Kuan said, Lu wants to announce the method of making artifact spirit roots to the world in the hope of increasing the number of immortal cultivators. Whether those warriors with artifact spirit roots practice traditional cultivation methods or join the body refining pavilion, we won't interfere. He paused and looked up at the sky, murmuring, the upper world still needs our support. The immortal cultivators must improve their strength quickly. If the humans in the upper world are defeated, I'm afraid the devil race will cross over to the upper world through other means. The invaders might even be races that are more powerful than the devil race. Hearing this, the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators all fell silent. Through the ancient books and the information shared by Lu Kuan and Hong Yin Tian, they knew that the humans in the upper world were going through a terrible war. The Yi Yuan school left many arrangements in order to help the upper world in the immortal cultivators' new cultivation methods. Now that they thought about it, the Yi Yuan school succeeded. Master Lu created the body refining immortal cultivators, which had stronger combat power than the traditional immortal cultivators. Okay, let's go take a look at the space passage in the demon area. Hearing Lu Kuan's words, the others nodded. This was the question they were most concerned about. After defeating the devil race this time, how long could the space passage last? Then, they all shone with various colors of spiritual light and flew toward the southwest. The demonic mist in the sky above this demonic domain had long since disappeared, but there was still a purplish-black mist several meters above the ground. It was filled with an aura that made one feel drowsy. The pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators looked around. When they saw the devil race below the demon fog, their eyes flashed with a bit of thoughtfulness. With Master Lu's strength, he could completely destroy the remaining demon fog. Now, he left it here as if to keep the devil race in captivity. The demon fog on the ground was a kind of natural restriction for the devil race. As they flew, Gu Deming and the others suddenly felt the power of space around them become stronger. However, there was still a long way to go before they reached the space passage. While they were puzzled, they couldn't help but look forward with their divine senses. Suddenly, they were stunned. They saw a giant palm print dozens of feet in size floating in the sky, far away. It was formed by hundreds of tiny cracks. The strong power of space was surging from it. This palm print, it pierced through space and shattered the void. Did Master Lu make it? Almost at the same time, all the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators looked at the burly man next to them. Lu Kuan said casually, "That's right. Under Lu's vibrating essence palm, 3 of the 4 devil emperors died and 1 was crippled." Hiss, the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators all gasped. They looked at Lu Kuan with horror in their eyes. They guessed that Lu Kuan should have defeated the devil emperors one by one with the special magic of body cultivators. Now, it sounded like he used one move to end the battle. In a trance, everyone came to the bottom of the giant palm. Compared to it, the human body seemed extremely small. The thinnest space crack was as thick as a person's waist. These pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators could even see the blue starlight inside and the swirling space whirlwinds. They all thought of a rumor at the same time. In ancient times, as long as the cultivators reached the late stage of the soul formation stage, they could use their own strength to break the void and directly ascend to the upper world without using any space channel. The palm print in front of them had shattered the space of the immortal cultivation world. Did it mean that Master Lu could unleash the power of the late stage of the soul formation stage and could easily ascend to the upper world? Just as this thought flashed through their minds, they suddenly felt their bodies tighten. An invisible force field swept out. The 5 pseudo-divinity transformation stage, cultivators, and Abba Ji-Yuan all moved closer to Lu Kuan. Outside the owner of the body refining pavilion, a giant ball of force field suddenly appeared. This distorted oval ball radiated out with a burly body as the core, enveloping everyone in it. Then, this ball of force field shot up and collided with the giant palm print that was emitting a strong space aura. The 5 pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators were still hesitating whether to struggle or not when they saw that the blue space cracks were shattered by the distorted invisible force after colliding with the edge of the ball of force field. Then, this oval-shaped ball of force field rolled back and forth like a rag, wiping the 100-foot-wide palm print clean. Accompanied by a circle of air waves, several pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators were released by Lu Kuan. They floated in midair and looked at the palm print that disappeared without a trace. Their expressions gradually became a little excited. They were not surprised that Lu Kuan could wipe out the space cracks, because the demonic fog was destroyed in this way. What really shocked them was that the other party could actually bring them along with him to crash into the space cracks. Although there was still a lot of space power that penetrated in, with their pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivation, they could easily resist it. Did this mean that not only did Master Lu have the ability to break the void, but he could also protect others and bring them into the reverse spirit channel to ascend to the upper world together? Chapter 1382. Lu Kuan looked at the excited faces of these pseudo-divine transformation stage cultivators and knew what they were thinking. He shook his head and said, "Don't be happy too early. Although the origin force field that contains dual elemental power can distort the power of space, I don't know how terrifying the power of space in the reverse spirit channel is." Lu is confident because of his strong physical defense. But you guys, even if you have the flesh and bone armor, I'm afraid it's still risky. Mo Qing smiled bitterly and said, "Master Lu, it has been 70,000 years since the Yuan sect ascended. The last cultivator who ascended was the Spirit Lord Buddha, who reached the early stage of soul formation. In the past 70,000 years, no pseudo-soul formation cultivator has succeeded. They entered the reverse spirit channel for less than half an hour before their corresponding spirit tablet shattered. If we have the help of Master Lu's 2 divine powers, we at least have a chance of success. As long as Master Lu can protect us, I'm willing to exchange anything I can." Us too, Taoist Tsang Feng and Shuebi Hua, the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud, were even more excited. The two of them had researched some kind of secret method and tried to break through to the orthodox soul formation, but they failed in the end, which caused their strength to be greatly reduced after leaving the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud. If they could ascend to the upper world and cast spells with the help of the pure essence chi of heaven and earth, they were confident that they could reach the early stage of soul formation. Fairy Beihan recalled the words left by the founder of her sect in the North Pole Mountain. Senior Li Beiyuan was originally at the mid-stage of soul formation, but after being eroded by the turbid essence chi, his cultivation fell to the early stage of soul formation. Even so, this senior was not confident that he could pass through the reverse spirit channel. She took a deep breath and said, "Me too." Gu Deming also looked at Lu Kuan with excitement. He was the youngest. If he could ascend to the upper world and become an orthodox soul formation cultivator, he might have a chance to reach a higher level. At this moment, these people were actually rejoicing in their hearts. The 2 venerables of the 5 Spirits Temple had fallen in the great battle of the Demon Clan. Otherwise, with the addition of these 2 people, the Origin Energy Field Ball would be too crowded, and Master Lu would not be able to bring so many people. As for Monk Ji-Yuan, he placed his palms together and said, "Now that we have the Giyuan River, with the help of the restrictive power, the pure, demonic spiritual vital chi is gradually converging above the river surface. I would like to try to break through to the divine transformation realm." Furthermore, I'll see if I can incorporate the body tempering techniques that Master Lu announced into my Buddhist techniques. I'm not in a hurry to ascend. Seeing everyone's reaction, Lu Kuan smiled and said, "This matter is not urgent. Let's first investigate the situation of the demon race's spatial channel." With that said, he took the lead and flew forward. The other pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators hurriedly followed. After a while, they arrived at the space tunnel of the Devil Clan. It was still shrouded in the devil mist, but the illusion restriction spell inside was greatly weakened. It could no longer block the divine consciousness of the semi-god realm. A city made of black stones entered their sight. However, this city was in a dilapidated state, as if it had been destroyed by someone. Some of the devils who were still in the city, after sensing the divine consciousness of the semi-god realm cultivators, all fled in horror. Lu Kuan did not pay attention to those devils. Instead, he looked at the square near the spatial channel. There was nothing but a pile of gravel on the ground. He chuckled and said, "Brother Hong has been here once. He destroyed the devil restriction spell here to prevent those devil generals from communicating with the upper world through some means." Everyone was enlightened. They had heard from their disciples that there was an evil devil dragon with an unyielding will on the battlefield. It might have something to do with the mysterious Grand Elder of the Body refining pavilion. Everyone passed through the devil mist and landed on the ground in front of the spatial channel. Looking at this huge channel that was like a small valley, they could see the swirling spatial turbulence and dense devil chi surging inside. This is the secret skill that Brother Hong passed down from the Yuan sect. Lu Kuan took out a few jade slips. He threw them out and said, "According to the method on these slips, you can calculate the weakening of the spatial storm and how long the turbulence will last." Looking at the other semi-god realm cultivators receiving the jade slips, Lu Kuan sighed in his heart. After he entered the Zhengyuan stage, although the blood origin, an energy similar to the Dharma power of the immortal cultivators, appeared in his body, he still could not use the immortal cultivators' Dharma spells. He could not even use the low-level Dharma spells below the core formation realm. The blood origin was like a new kind of energy that was not suitable for the traditional immortal cultivator's field. He might have to create a new Dharma access to unleash its true power. After a while, Mo Qing frowned slightly and said, "Master Lu, this secret skill requires continuous use of true essence. Also, we have to be in the spatial crack. This is the channel of the Devil Clan. Lu Kuan waved his hand and interrupted. "That's easy. Let's test the strength of the spatial storm in these portals." While speaking, he stretched out his hand. Clouds of golden blood gushed out from his palm, mixed with a violent bloodline energy. The blood quickly solidified and gradually formed a golden bone ball the size of a watermelon. The surface of the bone ball was outlined with strange double helix runes. Put your primordial spirit in it. If you only use it at the entrance of the spatial tunnel, Lu's flesh and bone armor should be able to protect your primordial spirits. Who want to try it first? I'll go first. Perhaps Mo Qing was tempted by the prospect of ascension or something else. He immediately stepped forward. His hands flashed, and a small yellow ball gushed out of his body, exuding a mocking will and true essence. The golden bone ball opened a hole and took in the primordial spirit ball. Then, under the control of Lu Kuan, it flew into the spatial tunnel ahead. As soon as it entered the spatial tunnel, a blue whirlwind rushed over. The terrifying spatial force collided with the golden bone ball, producing golden blue sparks. The next moment, the primordial spirit ball seemed to teleport. It crossed 1,000 feet in an instant and turned into a small golden dot. Lu Kuan raised his eyebrows and said, "As expected of a spatial tunnel, just a little forward and there's an illusion of spatial disorder. Mo Qing, hurry up and cast a spell. Lu won't be able to control it any further." Okay. Mo Qing closed his eyes and began to operate the Yuan sect's secret method through the primordial spirit in the spatial tunnel. Everyone could vaguely see that the golden that was making hand seals one after another, causing the blue spatial energy to ripple. After about a quarter of an hour, Imo-Ching opened his eyes and said, "Master Lu, the investigation is complete." Lu Kuan nodded. Through his primordial spirit, he called back the primordial spirit ball made of blood. When it returned, the primordial spirit ball seemed to be flying slowly. It was completely different from its previous rapid teleportation. Soon, the primordial spirit ball flew out and landed in front of everyone. The originally smooth surface of the primordial spirit realm bone ball was now covered with marks that seemed to have been cut by a sharp blade. The few pseudo-god realm warriors who knew about Lu Kuan's defense were shocked. The primordial spirit of Imo-Ching flew out of the primordial spirit ball and merged into his body. This pseudo-god realm warrior of the Blue Cloud sect said, "According to the feedback of the spatial force, the turbulence inside should last for another 600 years. He paused and said, "However, the intensity of the spatial storm in the spatial tunnel is much stronger than what the Yuan sect recorded. The next time the Devil King teleports, he won't be able to send so many." Hearing this, Lu Kuan thought for a while and said, "Everyone try it." Then, the other pseudo-god realm warriors cast the spell in the same way and got the same conclusion as Imo-Ching. Lu Kuan's expression relaxed a lot. He said, 600 years is enough for the strength of the world of cultivators to reach a higher level. The Devil Realm shouldn't know about the war of the Devil Race yet. Next time, we can set up an ambush in advance. The pseudo-god realm warriors around nodded in agreement. Then, their eyes fell on the somewhat broken golden primordial spirit ball in front of Lu Kuan. This ball had entered the spatial tunnel 5 times, but it was still intact. It was obvious that its defense was amazing. Lu Kuan smiled and said, "After the experiment in this spatial tunnel, Lu's flesh-bone armor and origin energy of his body should be able to greatly improve your defense against the spatial force. However, Lu won't ascend so soon. He needs to cultivate the next generation of body cultivators at the Zongyuan stage. By the way, the flesh-bone armor and the origin energy field that distort space can be used by body cultivators at this stage. It doesn't have to be Lu. Let's go." After saying that, his figure flashed and shot toward the Guyuan River. The others followed closely behind. They were all thinking about what price they should pay in exchange for the protection of Ascension. Lu Kuan was also thinking as he flew. He deliberately let these pseudo-god realm warriors know that body cultivators at the Zongyuan stage could be protected during Ascension. This meant that the future pseudo-god realm warriors of other immortal cultivation sects would have to rely on high-level body cultivators if they wanted to ascend. In this way, the body refining pavilion's position in the world of cultivators would become unshakable. Although the Devil Race's spatial tunnel can still be quiet for 600 years, I don't have much time left. Lu Kuan felt a little helpless. Ever since he used the quaking Yuan palm of the 4th elemental force, he felt a faint repulsive force in this world. This repulsive force gradually strengthened as time passed. At most, in 300 or 400 years, he would have to leave this world under the suppression of the spatial force. Chapter 1383. Broken Country, North Pole Mountain Range. The crater created by Lu Kuan had disappeared and was replaced by an immortal cave embedded in the cliff of the abyss. This immortal cave was very simple. Behind a stone door was a 100-zhong wide hall made of rocks. There were no restrictions on the walls, and they were dotted with golden light, as if gold or was embedded inside. Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian stood in the hall. On the ground, there were 11 tall demon corpses for demon emperors, 6 demon kings, and 1 fake demon emperor. Some of these demon corpses were motionless, while some were slightly undulating. It seemed that half of them were alive, but their bodies were wrapped in a layer of fishnet-like golden net. In the center of the hall, a 1-foot-tall purple-black demon infant was suspended in the air. The air around it was slightly distorted, and 2 tyrannical divine senses containing violent and unyielding willpower were wrapped around it. After a while, the soul aura inside the demon infant dissipated, and a brutal willpower spread out. A golden blood mist appeared out of thin air and condensed into a blood ball. Lu Kuan held this small ball in his hand and frowned. After our divine senses fused, not only did we have two kinds of willpower, but we also surpassed the divine senses of early deity stage experts. But we still couldn't find any useful information. Hong Yintian snorted and said, I already told you that the souls of demons are different from those of humans. Those below Demon King level are affected by the true demon contract. Once the soul is searched, the soul will collapse. And for Demon King level existences, their souls will either be destroyed in battle, or most of their memories will be hidden in their corpses. If the soul could be searched so easily, the Yuan school would have a lot of information about demons long ago. Lu Kuan waved his hand, and a stone box made of dragon-severing stone appeared before him. He placed the soulless demonic nascent soul into the box, then used his blood to reinforce the seal before stowing it away. Then he looked at the 11 corpses on the ground and asked, Yuan school didn't find any other way? Hong Yintian closed his eyes and recalled for a moment, then slowly said, When the first demon war ended, my cultivation was still shallow, and I hadn't become an elder of a Yuan school. Later, I heard the elders of the school mention that the demon race's soul concealment method is somewhat similar to the bloodline memory of top demon beasts. Bloodline memories? Hong Yintian nodded and said, According to what the elders said, after an existence above Devil King is captured alive, the bloodline in their body will absorb their divine soul. These divine souls hidden in the bloodline can exist for a very long time, far exceeding their normal lifespan. Lu Kuan couldn't help but think of the Fiend Demon King who had escaped from the Fiend Demon Island and was refined into a Devil Soul pill by Old Devil Pang. He had heard from Old Devil Pang that there were other Devil Souls that had escaped, but they were also refined into Devil Soul pills by the Blood Refining Sect. The reason why the Devil Soul could survive for tens of thousands of years was probably related to this strange secret technique hidden in the bloodline. Moreover, on the Demon Island, the divine souls of the other two Devil Emperors had already dissipated. However, the soul of a Devil King like He Sha had actually survived. Perhaps he had borrowed some other power. Hong Yintian continued. Later, Yuan School developed the Yuan Jade Pendant and used various methods to lure the Devil Soul out of the body and capture it. But these Devil Souls that had left the bloodline seemed to have lost contact with their original body. They could only seize a new body. Moreover, the Devil Souls that had infiltrated the bloodline were planted with some kind of restriction. Forcibly searching their soul would cause them to directly perish. After repeated attempts by Yuan School, unless the 5 viscera and 6 bowels of the Devil King were destroyed, these remnant souls would remain in the bloodline. Later, because of my good progress in Devil Corpse Body refining technique, Taishang Elder left behind a lot of high-level Devil Corpses. Lu Kuan revealed a look of understanding. No wonder Yuan School developed the Yuan Jade Pendant. On one hand, it was used to prevent the Devil Soul from seizing the body, and, on the other hand, it was used to capture the remnant souls inside the Devil Corpses. Then he pondered for a moment and said, In the past, when we were studying the path of body refining, we had already discovered that the viscera were extremely important to the Devil Emperors. They were the key to the Devil race's bloodline, just like Zheng Yuan body refining technique. Hong Yintian glanced at Lu Kuan and said, You have successfully broken through to Zheng Yuan body refining technique and also manifested the vision of the human race's bloodline. The strength of your bloodline has completely surpassed those of the top monster race. Yuan School is helpless against the Devil bloodline, but you may be able to solve it. Moreover, I feel that the study of these Devil Souls has great reference value to the bloodline inheritance of body refining that you had previously guessed. Lu Kuan gently nodded. He glanced at the Devil Corpses on the ground and suddenly said, More than 80 years ago, the female Devil King's Dantian was broken by us, and her nascent soul was forcibly crushed. Her spirit dissipated into nothingness. Previously, when we explored the devil fog and used the 2 heads and 4 arms, 3 heads and 6 arms to fight, we used the swirling light to suck out the spirit of the devil kings and devil emperors. Hong Yintian frowned and said, "You want to use the swirling light to extract their remnant souls, but I feel that you should try to explore their bloodline memories. After all, you have a bloodline primordial spirit that has never appeared in the Xiuxian world. Don't worry, it's rare to catch so many devil kings alive. Let's try the swirling light first." Lu Kuan pondered for a moment and slowly said, "This magical power operates the source force field in a different way. Its inspiration comes from the formation of the internal organs and dantian, and it has the effect of absorbing spirit. However, when we used it with 2 heads and 4 arms, the frequency and method inside is somewhat chaotic." Chaotic? Hong Yuntian showed a puzzled look. At this time, Lu Kuan had already stretched out his hands, palms facing each other, and the distorted force field in front of him rotated in front of him. Soon, it formed a golden funnel with 2 openings, and the invisible force field collapsed towards the middle, exuding a terrifying suction force. The surrounding devil spirit yuan qi gathered inwards, and the air rippled with turbulent power. The whole cave was shaking, and the devil corpses on the ground were also strongly attracted. Lu Kuan closed his eyes, as if he was sensing something. His palms flipped, and his arms trembled as he pulled them apart. The golden funnel with 2 openings trembled slightly before separating. A golden funnel appeared on the left, while a vortex the size of a watermelon appeared on the right. The air inside the vortex was twisting at an extremely high speed, exuding a deep, pitch-black light. Lu Kuan's left hand loosened, and the golden funnel collapsed. At the same time, the rampaging devil spirit Yuan Qi in the cave suddenly calmed down, and the devil corpses floating in the air also fell to the ground with a plop. Only the pitch-black vortex remained in the air. It was quiet, as if it was silently devouring something. Hong Yintian, who was standing to the side, only glanced at it for a moment before feeling his soul tremble, as if it was about to leave his body. He hurriedly circulated his physical body and divine sense, hiding it in his spine. He then retreated 100 feet or so, using his unyielding will to suppress the trembling of his soul. He raised his head and looked at the ordinary-looking, pitch-black vortex with a horrified expression. At this moment, Lu Kuan's left hand made a grabbing motion, and the devil corpses that belonged to the demon infant floated in front of him. The pitch-black vortex happened to be right above its head. What was strange was that the vortex did not seem to have any power. The devil corpse's scales did not even move. Then, the vortex gradually moved down to the neck, shoulders, and when it enveloped the chest, a ghostly purple devil face was forcibly pulled out. It twisted and trembled, as if it was trying to resist the suction of the vortex. There really is. Lu Kuan opened his mouth slightly and spat out a cloud of golden blood mist. This blood mist ignored the black vortex that attacked the soul and seeped into the devil corpses. It wrapped around the distorted devil corpses and turned into a ball of blood that flew back. Then, the pitch-black vortex disappeared without a trace, and the soul-sucking power in the air also dissipated. Hong Yuntian immediately felt the pressure on him lessen greatly. He said with a hint of amazement in his voice, "Lu Kuan, your swirling light seems to be different from last time." Lu Kuan looked at the ball of blood in front of him and smiled. "When we first used the swirling light with 2 heads and 4 arms, we discovered that this divine ability was able to suck in souls. Its effect was similar to when I forcefully sucked out the souls of pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators from the vital chi of heaven and earth when I made a breakthrough to the viscera essence stage. Aside from that, the technique of the origin power vortex was also added to it. Now that I've officially made a breakthrough to the viscera essence stage and possess the power of 2 essences, I have a clearer understanding of this divine ability. I discovered that the terrifying suction force and the small-scale yuan sealing domain are two different rotation methods and frequencies compared to the divine ability that sucks in souls. Rotation methods and frequencies. Lu Kuan sighed. That's right. If it weren't for the use of the Berserk divine ability, which gave me a new understanding of the reverse compression of the physical body's origin power, I'm afraid I wouldn't have thought of this point. When the origin power field rotates at a low frequency, it manifests a terrifying suction force of more than 2 million kilograms and possesses powerful control over Yuan Qi. The higher the frequency, the stronger the power. The origin power vortex of the bone transformation stage is used in this way. But if it collapses in the opposite direction, it can produce the effect of sucking in souls and wills. The higher the frequency, the stronger the suction force on souls. When we used the swirling light earlier, we forcefully mixed these two methods together. Although it has two divine abilities at the same time, neither of these characteristics were fully utilized. It should be like what I did just now, separating the swirling light. The one that rotates in the opposite direction is called the swirling golden light, and the one that collapses in the opposite direction at a high frequency is called the soul-sucking vortex. However, this kind of reverse collapse seems to be something that can only be displayed after the origin power field reaches the level of unyuan power. As he spoke to this point, a thoughtful expression appeared on his face. From the situation just now, the suction force produced by the soul-sucking vortex doesn't affect anything other than souls. What exactly is the principle behind this? For some reason, Lu Kuan thought of gravity. He had always regarded the physical body's origin power as a variant of gravity, but now that it had collapsed in the opposite direction, it actually produced a force that targeted souls. Souls had no mass, or rather, they were very light. He had a vague feeling that this special power, origin power, seemed to contain the essence of some kind of power and would have an extremely important effect on the future realm of body cultivators. Hong Yuntian didn't know what he was thinking, but he was surprised by the use of the physical body's origin power. Even at the Zhongyuan stage, the origin power field can still change like this. Lu Kuan sighed with emotion. The power possessed by body cultivators is always changing. Low-level body cultivators combine their physical strength with the 5 elements to resist the spells and magic treasures of low-level immortal cultivators. High-level body cultivators possess the physical body's origin power and use this special power to resist the power of a nascent soul. And when the physical body's origin power reaches the level of 2 million kilograms, not only can it control origin Qi, it can also collapse in the opposite direction, affecting the soul. Hearing these words, Hong Yuntian seemed to have understood something. It seems that as their strength increases, body cultivators gradually approach the essence of some kind of power. This kind of power is completely different from traditional immortal cultivators. Lu Kuan also had the same feeling in his heart. Then he buried all kinds of thoughts in his heart and smiled. Let's first study the mysteries of the demon race's cultivation. Let's see what kind of special restrictions are placed on the soul that was forcefully extracted. After he finished speaking, he suspended the ball of blood in front of him and merged it with Hong Yuntian's unyielding consciousness and poured it into the soul that was being sucked out by the soul-sucking vortex. When they began to search the soul began to tremble. The illusory demon face lit up with a totem pattern made of a special ring. Accompanied by a deep bloodline aura, the soul exploded and dissipated into nothingness. Chapter 1384. That restriction aura, just now, seems to belong to a powerful demon bloodline. Hong Yuntian's eyes flashed with surprise. When he Yuan School was studying the devil soul, he was cultivating the devil zombie body refining technique and was not qualified to participate. Now that he felt it up close, he found that the restriction aura that obliterated the devil soul was somewhat similar to the true demon bloodline in his body. It even made him shudder. Lu Kuan looked serious. He also felt the pressure of that bloodline. The berserk bloodline in his body was agitated, as if it had encountered a powerful opponent. He said in a dignified tone, When those demons saw the true demon lines you manifested, they said that it was a high-grade blood mark. This bloodline, I'm afraid it is a high-grade bloodline of the demon race? Hong Yuntian said thoughtfully. It seems that this restriction is a bloodline restriction of a high-grade demon powerhouse. Lu Kuan looked at the lifeless body of the demon king under his feet and said with shining eyes, or it can be said that it is a bloodline magical ability that protects the soul. As long as the body is intact and the internal organs are intact, the demon king can use this magical ability to hide most of the soul in the bloodline and wait for an opportunity to seize the body. If the remnant soul is caught, it will directly disappear under the influence of the bloodline restriction, ensuring that the secret will not be leaked. Hong Yuntian murmured, "How is a high-grade demon bloodline tied to the soul? Do demons also have a bloodline primordial spirit?" Lu Kuan said with some excitement, "Such a strange magical ability. Find a way to find out. I will try to control a body first." Speaking until here, the source energy outside his body surged, and the body of the female demon king on the ground floated over under the binding of an invisible force. He stretched out his left hand and directly pinched the neck wrapped in purple-black scales. Then he closed his eyes, and the berserk bloodline in his body surged. Clouds of golden blood mist gushed out of his palm and flowed into the back of the neck. The monstrous power of qi and blood rose around his body, as if mobilizing all the blood in his body. This blood mist entered the neck and spread to the skull and spine. It followed the nervous network of the body inside and entered the brain, internal organs, blood vessels, bones, and muscles. A golden network that was as dense as capillaries filled the she-devil's body at an astonishing speed. During the previous battle, the reason why Lu Kuan's flesh child was able to temporarily control the Devil King's body was because he had repeatedly studied the structure of the Devil King's body. Furthermore, the Devil King's body was 60% similar to that of humans, so the nervous system was relatively easy to invade. Now, when Lu Kuan injected a large amount of violent essence blood into this demon body through his flesh and divine sense, he discovered that the internal organs and nerves of the demon race were 80% similar to those of the human race. The most important difference was that the demon organs and the brain had a unique nerve connection. With such close similarities, could there be some special relationship between the human and demon clans? An absurd thought flashed through his mind. Then, he focused on eroding the body's nerves. A moment later, the half-dead she-devil opened her eyes. A trace of golden light flashed through them. Her legs that were hanging on the ground stood up as if she had come back to life. A strange voice came from the she-devil's mouth. "Brother Hong, you're right. When the Devil King's remnant soul hid in the bloodline, he completely lost this body. The erosion of the nerves of the body just now was not hindered in the slightest." Seeing this scene, Hong Yuntian was somewhat surprised. Your flesh child's divine sense can completely control the body. Lu Kuan's main body closed his eyes and stood motionless. The she-devil's head shook up and down as she nodded. Then, she took a step forward and started running in the hall. At first, her posture was somewhat stiff, but soon became flexible. She even pulled out a series of afterimages. Accompanied by the sound of breaking air, the Devil King's body flashed, punched, kicked, and spun, just like a real devil. After a while, the she-devil's body stopped and said, "Without the adjustment of the divine soul, the vitality of the body has decreased." Then, Lu Kuan said in a strange tone, "The Devil King's body has completed the integration, but the method seems to be different from ours. Also, I can't feel the aura of the source energy." Hearing this, Hong Yuntian looked at the fake Devil Emperor's body on the ground and said slowly, "Although I can't completely devour the fake Devil Emperor's body, I can feel that the source energy of the body is closely related to the demon energy." Demon energy? He analyzed. The 5 elements body refining art uses qi, blood, and demonic energy to refine bone treasures and complete the body. My body refining art refines the body of a demonic zombie. The demonic race should use demonic energy to refine the entire body. Your body's source energy relies on the bone treasure to perform. Mine is spread through the chi and blood demon energy. The devil race should be the demon energy. Lu Kuan looked down at the she-devil's chest and said, "There's still some demon energy left in her internal organs, but the nerves of the body can't be controlled. It's very likely that it's controlled through the divine soul's demon energy. It seems that the Devil King's body refining art is quite different from that of a body cultivator. I just don't know if the Devil Emperor's body refining art is different." At this point, he frowned and said, "We still have to find a way to search for their divine soul. What are you going to do?" Lu Kuan pondered for a moment and said, "This body is completely under my control. First, I'll expel all the blood from its body." As he spoke, the female devil zombie came to the side of his body. The blood in her body flowed, her strong arms and full chest began to shrink, and even her internal organs were the same. Traces of purplish-black blood gushed out her mouth. Under the effect of the source energy field of Lu Kuan's body, it floated in the air and gradually gathered into a ball of blood. There was still some purplish-black lightning lingering inside. The remaining demon energy is flowing out of the internal organs, but there seems to be a special blood pattern inside. Lu Kuan's expression suddenly became serious. He found that there was still a lot of blood left in the depths of the devil organs, and it also emitted a special bloodline aura. The blood intertwined in the internal organs, forming a special totem pattern that was completely free of the nerves. If he hadn't extracted the blood from the internal organs, he wouldn't have been able to find it. "Brother Hong, check this devil blood." Lu Kuan threw the ball of blood to Hong Yuntian, then calmed down and felt the special pattern in the internal organs. First, he found that he couldn't penetrate the devil blood. When his body and divine sense, which contained a violent will, approached, the devil blood seemed to be threatened and trembled violently, as if it would collapse in the next moment. At the same time, the Devil Queen's forehead lit up with a crisscrossing totem. Lu Kuan withdrew his body and divine sense, and said in surprise, "This blood pattern is exactly the same as the totem pattern that appeared when the devil's soul dissipated." In other words, this Devil Queen and the Devil King just now are restricted by the same high-level bloodline. At this time, Hong Yuntian finished inspecting the ball of blood and said, "There is no bloodline aura or divine soul in this devil blood. The divine soul is still in the devil organs." Lu Kuan nodded and said, "It seems that the key is this blood pattern in the devil organs. Blood can't penetrate it, divine sense can't get close, and it can't be easily destroyed. If it was in the dantian of the internal organs, I might be able to see the fine structure. But the Devil King's internal organs aren't strong enough to withstand the collapse of the full nascent power. Also, if I force it, I'm afraid it will be like the soul-absorbing whirlpool just now, and directly suck out the remnant soul." Hearing this, Hong Yuntian was silent for a moment and said, "What if you swallow the Devil King's internal organs?" "Swallow?" The Devil Queen under Lu Kuan's control was stunned. "Although my blood has the characteristics of blood and devil chi, it can't swallow the Devil King's body like you can." Lu Kuan's flesh clone divine sense was very different from Hong Yuntian's flesh clone divine sense. The former used an extremely powerful bloodline, divine sense, and divine sense to invade the nervous system of the Devil King's body and control it. But Hong Yuntian's flesh clone divine sense used blood and devil chi to swallow and refine the Devil King's body. However, with his mid-stage devil transformation divine sense, he could only control late-stage devil generals at most. He couldn't swallow fake devil emperors and devil kings. Hong Yuntian shook his head and said, "It's not swallowing, it should be called wrapping. Condense your own internal organs into a ball, leaving a space in the middle, and wrap the Devil Queen's internal organs and the blood patterns in it into the ball." Lu Kuan suddenly said, "That's a good idea. The soul-absorbing characteristic of the collapse of the origin force field will be blocked by my internal organs. I can give it a try." Then his flesh clone divine sense turned into a ball of golden blood and returned to his body. Then his hands turned into claws, and reached for the Devil Queen's chest, tearing open her shriveled chest and revealing the devil heart behind it. At this time, Lu Kuan's chest had also been opened. Under the effect of the invisible force field, the devil heart that had lost its luster entered his body. The Snow Soul dual sabers wrapped around the ball of innards and opened up a hole, allowing the demon innards to enter. Chapter 1385. Lu Kuan's body swelled to 9 feet tall, and he sensed the internal organ ball that completely wrapped the demon organ. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and the twisting force field around him suddenly disappeared into his body. Boom! Accompanied by a roar, his internal organs and dantian were revealed, but this sound was accompanied by the sound of flesh and blood shattering. Lu Kuan's face changed slightly. Although he only used the power of 1 yuan, the withered Demon King's internal organs still couldn't bear it and directly turned into a pool of blood. However, when his physical body and consciousness entered the internal dantian, he was suddenly stunned. The internal organs island, blood essence C, and bloodline pool inside were all very normal. The only difference was that above the bloodline pool, there was an exquisite purple-black rune floating. Not only is the demon race's bloodline ability not damaged, but the internal dantian has also revealed it. Lu Kuan was pleasantly surprised. Under his perception, the rune that hid and protected the Demon King's remnant soul was magnified countless times, and he could see the details inside clearly. The smallest unit of this demon rune was a hexagonal structure. Each side of the hexagonal structure was a bone spur-like particle, while the 6 corners were purple-black light spots. These hexagonal figures, with the purple-black light spots as the connection points, intertwined to form a large and small ring structure, a bit like a beehive. On the ring of the beehive, there was a layer of lavender light that emitted a terrifying soul fluctuation. Lu Kuan didn't pay any attention to this soul. Instead, he carefully observed the structure of the smallest rune. The bone spur particles in the hexagonal shape are the demon race's bloodline origin. This unique structure is it the demon race's high-level bloodline rune? But what connects these bone spur particles is not the true demon intent, but this purple-black light spot. It's aura. Why is it exactly the same as the demon organ yuan? Lu Kuan was stunned. After entering the viscera stage, he could extract 2 special energies from the blood essence through the double helix bloodline rune, the demon organ yuan and the spirit organ yuan. At that time, he found that the demon organ yuan and the demon emperor's energy were somewhat similar. Now, this purple-black particle embedded in the high-level demon bloodline ability had the same aura as the demon viscera origin. Is demon viscera origin the bloodline energy of a higher-level demon? How is it related to the demon emperor's energy? Lu Kuan looked at the hexagonal rune again and couldn't help but ponder. It should be the basic bloodline rune of the high-level demon race. It looks similar to Brother Hong's true demon rune, but the latter has merged with the bloodline origin of the human race and is in a standard round shape. The former is a simple bone spur that can only form a polygonal shape. My double helix bloodline runes, and even my former strength runes, were formed by connecting the bloodline origin particles through mental bonds. There's no true demon intent in this high-level demon race bloodline, but it's connected through the demon viscera. Is it because the high-level demons don't have bloodline wills, or does the transformation of bloodline divine abilities have to be performed through the demon viscera? Lu Kuan was silent for a while, then suppressed his doubts and continued to sense. The entire bloodline rune radiates a special wave that constantly acts on the Demon King's remnant soul. The two seem to have a close connection. If I forcibly extract the soul, it seems to cause other changes. If I want to thoroughly search the soul, I have to take drastic measures and first disintegrate this rune. At this time, Lu Kuan's mind suddenly moved. The rune floating above the bloodline pool seemed to encounter some kind of power and began to tremble slightly, but it just trembled and didn't have any other changes. Strange, when my bloodline was reorganized, my mind could easily break the strength rune, but why can't this rune? Lu Kuan repeatedly tried several times, but the result was still a slight tremor, and there was no other reaction. Is the strength of my physical body and consciousness not enough to break the high-level demon race bloodline rune? No. When the bloodline was reorganized, I hadn't entered the viscera origin stage, and my physical body and consciousness were much weaker than now. Or, thinking of this, Lu Kuan suddenly had an idea. The power to break down the bloodline rune is not spiritual sense. With this thought, the collapsing force outside the inner ball began to increase, gradually increasing from the power of a Yuan, and the bloodline rune of the demon race began to tremble even more violently. Seeing this scene, Lu Kuan muttered in his heart, "Physical body, source strength. The power to circulate the bloodline in the Dantian is actually physical body source strength. I used to think that it was my own spiritual sense that controlled everything in the Dantian, but it turned out to be controlled by source strength. No, it should be a kind of microscopic source strength." Thinking of this, Lu Kuan's thoughts were suddenly opened, and he felt suddenly enlightened. The internal collapse of the source strength field is actually the transfer of the body cultivator's physical body source strength from the macroscopic external power to the microscopic power deep in the body. The bloodline rune and bloodline source particles are extremely small and can't be seen with the naked eye. Their mass is almost zero, and as long as there is a very small force, it can be moved. On Earth, I seem to have heard that gravity mainly acts in the macroscopic world, and in the microscopic domain, the power of gravity can be ignored. In other words, after the collapse of the macroscopic source strength and the transformation into microscopic source strength, the power is reduced by hundreds or even tens of millions of times. Lu Kuan's thoughts became clearer. Why is it that when the physical body source strength reaches the level of 2 million gene, it can collapse the internal organs and form a Dantian? That's because only when the macroscopic source strength reaches this level, the microscopic source strength it transforms can meet the minimum power requirements to adjust the bloodline rune. According to this theory, the soul-absorbing vortex is the ability to transform the macroscopic source strength into microscopic source strength. In a way, the soul is also a microscopic existence, so when it absorbs the soul, it can't harm the macroscopic physical body. The physical spiritual sense of a body cultivator is the combination of the soul and the nerves of the physical body. Under its operation, it first controls the physical body source strength, and then through the changes of the source strength, it controls the world's origin chi, bloodline, and soul. This is completely different from immortal cultivators. Immortal cultivators above the divine transformation realm, their spiritual sense, which contains the will, most likely also has the characteristics of microscopic power, so it has a strong suppression on the soul. If a Zongyuan body cultivator wants to target the soul, then they have to borrow the power of microscopic source strength. Following the analysis in his heart, Lu Kuan had a deeper understanding of the Zongyuan body cultivator realm. From this realm onwards, the physical body source strength of a body cultivator would undergo a microscopic transformation. If he could research the technique to release it, it would probably produce all kinds of miraculous abilities. After thinking for a while, Lu Kuan felt that his control of his Dantian had reached a new level. The way to control microscopic source strength is actually not that different from macroscopic source strength. He looked at the demon race rune above the bloodline pool, smiled slightly in his heart, and raised the power outside the inner ball to the level of dual origin. At this time, in the space of the inner Dantian, gusts of wind seemed to blow. An invisible special power penetrated the layers and acted on the exquisite purple-black rune. This power accurately fell on the demon viscera origin nodes between the bone spur particles, like countless miniature flying knives, and chopped down. Kacha, kacha. Along with a faintly discernible cracking sound, this exquisite bloodline rune of the devil race broke apart inch by inch like a butcher dismembering an ox. It was broken down into specks of bone spikes and purple-black specks of devil chi light. The demon king's remnant soul panicked, but there seemed to be an invisible force around it, and it could not move at all. Lu Kuan felt these three things, and with a thought, the microscopic power in his dantian rolled, pressing a purple-black demon viscera origin into the bloodline pool, causing it to roll into the double helix rune and pass through a berserker bond. Then, in the slight vibration of the bloodline pool, a milky white light spot appeared at the other end. Seeing this scene, Lu Kuan finally confirmed that the purple-black light spots in the demon race bloodline rune were demon viscera origin particles. Therefore, he put the pile of demon viscera origin particles into his bloodline pool and exited the dantian state. Lu Kuan opened his eyes and saw Hong Yuntian's inquiring gaze and said with a smile, "Success." As he spoke, the muscles and ribs in his chest opened, revealing the ball of organs inside. The Snow Soul dual blades opened a hole, and a ball of black liquid and a ball of demon soul slowly floated out. He sighed, "I didn't expect to gain so much. Not only did I decompose the demon race bloodline rune into the demon race bloodline origin, demon viscera origin, and the demon king's remnant soul, I also have a new understanding of the viscera origin stage." Demon viscera origin? Understanding? I'll explain in detail to Brother Hong later. I seem to have hurt the demon king's remnant soul just now. Let's search its soul first. Okay, then, the two consciousnesses that contain the power of will merge together and poured into the remnant soul in front of them. The latter trembled violently, but did not self-destruct like before. Seeing this, Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian were delighted, and their consciousnesses were completely immersed in the memories of the demon king's remnant soul. Chapter 1386. As time passed, the Devil King's remnant soul became dimmer and dimmer as it was searched repeatedly. Finally, it dissipated. Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian retracted their divine senses. Their eyes were filled with shock and fear, and their emotions fluctuated greatly. For a moment, the cave dwelling fell into silence. After a long time, Hong Yuntian said with a solemn expression, "The devil race actually has as many as 3 body integration stage beings that the human race doesn't have. As for void refinement stage devil emperors, there are more than 50, Lu Kuan sighed. No wonder the devil race doesn't take the human race seriously. According to the blood barbarian devil king's memories, there are only 4 or 5 void refinement stage human experts in the upper realm. Their main opponent in the upper realm is the Star Soul race." Then he said worriedly, "Compared to the Star Soul race that has body integration stage beings, the human race is just a side character. However, this race with low strength has a small realm that can change the flow of time. If this news leaks out and the powerful races in the spirit realm find out, from the remnant soul, they learn that the upper realm where the human race lived was called the spirit realm. It was an extremely vast realm with countless powerful races. The devil race that had 3 body integration stage beings only dared to attack remote places in the spirit realm." At this time, Hong Yuntian's emotions had already calmed down. He said slowly, "In the depths of the blood barbarian devil king's remnant soul, there is a powerful soul seal. During the soul search process, we didn't find any information about this realm. It can be seen that the devil race is extremely cautious about this. Only the human race, the devil race, and the nether insect race know about this special realm." Lu Kuan muttered, "The nether insect race is the same as the devil race. They have their own small realm, and it's not easy for it to leak out. If that's the case, the human race has the greatest risk of leaking it out." Hong Yuntian said, "The message that the Grand Elder left behind in this seat soul did mention this point. The other end of the reverse spirit channel is a secret forbidden area of the human race. There's a top treasure similar to the Mountain of Vows there. Every cultivator who ascends will sign a soul contract with it. It's said that even body integration stage beings can't search the soul of the contract's protection. The effect should be similar to the seal in the depths of this demon king's remnant soul." Lu Kuan took a deep breath, clenched his fists, and said, "In Shueman's memories, The demon race has already occupied a part of the spirit world. After we ascend, I fear we will have to continue fighting with the demon race. Hong Yunqian's eyes also flashed with fighting spirit, and his tone was somewhat high as he said, although part of this guy's memories are sealed, the information about the demon race in it let us know the importance of a strong bloodline for a high realm breakthrough. When a human body cultivator reaches the Zhang Yuan stage, they will also develop a unique bloodline. In the future, they will definitely be able to give birth to high-level powerhouses. They searched through Xuan Man's remnant soul and discovered that the demon emperor, who specialized in cultivating the mortal body, had a unique status within the demon race. The demonic cultivator's cultivation levels were similar to that of the human race. Those below the nascent soul stage were called devil soldiers, which were divided into 7 levels. The nascent soul stage was equivalent to the devil general. The soul formation stage was equivalent to the devil king, and the devil emperor and devil lord were equivalent to the void refinement stage and the body integration stage, respectively. Almost all demon cultivators cultivated the path of golden core and nascent soul. Only the demon emperor, who specialized in cultivating the mortal body, was an exception. Once a demon emperor reached the boundary of nascent soul, they would completely break away from the nascent soul realm and purely refine their mortal body. The energy within their body was called demon origin energy. When a demon emperor entered the void refinement realm, they would possess a brand new high-level demon bloodline and could establish a family. The cultivation of a demon emperor was extremely difficult. High-level demon emperors that were equal to late demon kings were extremely rare. As for how many void refinement realm demon emperors there were, as well as other information about them, there was no information in Xueman's memories. Xueman Demon King's Xue clan was a high-level bloodline clan. The totem pattern that appeared between his eyebrows was the emblem of his clan. Some special supernatural abilities could be displayed through this bloodline mark. Lu Kuan's mind flashed with this information. He couldn't help but think the so-called high-level bloodlines of the demon race were created by those demon emperors who specialized in cultivating the mortal body. What characteristics does this bloodline have? How can it be called a high-level bloodline? What is the difference between it and the special bloodlines of the viscera essence body cultivators? Hong Yuntian glanced at him and said, after you ascend and reach the middle viscera essence body cultivator, you should be able to capture a late demon emperor. At that time, you can study it and find out. Lu Kuan forced a smile and said, in Xueman's memories, not to mention late demon emperors, even middle demon emperors are extremely rare. Otherwise, in the first great war of the demon race, the demons would have sent more middle demon emperors and perhaps one. Let's not talk about the later realms. The cultivation methods of the demon race that we found should be a great inspiration to Brother Hong. Hong Yuntian recalled the information he had just scoured and slowly nodded. It is indeed enlightening. The demon race relies on their bloodline talent. When they cultivate their demon power, they can also use a trace of the source energy of the demon chi. From there, they can produce accompanying demon energy that nourishes their mortal body. This energy has a similar effect to the blood vitality energy that you found in the bodies of monster cultivators. Lu Kuan nodded. In the past, when he was at the early bone transformation boundary and was searching for the cultivation methods of the power of life, he had studied the mortal body of a sea monster. He had discovered that deep within the blood vessels of the 5 viscera and 6 bowels, there was a special kind of energy that nourished the mortal body. This energy was called blood vitality energy. A demon cultivator's accompanying demon energy resides in their muscles at the chi refining realm, tempering their flesh and blood. At the foundation establishment realm, it enters the 5 viscera and 6 bowels. After reaching core formation, it enters the demon bones. At the demon infant stage of a demon general, the accompanying demon energy spreads throughout the entire body. At this time, Hong Yuntian thought of the method to break through the demon infant in Xueman's memories. He ruefully smiled and said, I didn't think that the formation of the demon infant would require the assistance of the accompanying demon energy source. When I cultivated the demon corpse body refining art, what I swallowed were all dead demon corpses. The accompanying demon energy had already disappeared. What I swallowed was the flesh and blood essence of the demon corpses. No wonder I was unable to form a nascent soul. Hong Yuntian paused and then continued to say, for a demon that has just stepped into the path of cultivation, because there is no energy to guide them, they will use a special origin array to activate their demon power and accompanying demon energy. Speaking to here, he slowly said, you should know that the origin array in Xueman's memories is the origin array of the cloudy body refining art. Lu Kuan heard this, and his tone was a bit strange. He said, the demon race uses their bloodline talent and origin array to cultivate accompanying demon energy. Humans use origin array to cultivate blood vitality demon power. Hong Yuntian seemed to be enlightened. He thoughtfully said, the demon race's demon energy and the human race's blood vitality demon power. As he spoke, he stretched out his hands. A pitch black ball of energy appeared in his left hand. It seemed to be interwoven with flesh and blood, exuding an evil and greedy aura. In his right hand was a ball of dark purple lightning energy. This was the demon energy that he had just absorbed from the Demon King's corpse. As Lu Kuan looked at these two balls of energy, a light flashed in his mind. He blankly said, the demon race's bloodline talent produces demon energy that nourishes the body. But because of the compatibility of the human race's bloodline, they are able to produce blood vitality demon power that can swallow all sorts of flesh and blood. The blood vitality demon power's swallowing characteristic seems to be an extension of compatibility. Hong Yuntian looked at the two types of energy in his hands and muttered, before, I discovered that the demon energy of the fake Demon Emperor and Demon King came from the same source as the blood vitality demon power. But the attributes repel each other. Demon energy tempers the body, but blood vitality demon power swallows the body. Could it be that the human race and the demon race's bloodline are also born from the same source, but one is exclusive and the other is compatible, so the body-tempering energy produced is completely different? Lu Kuan couldn't help but analyze. Exclusivity can be said to repel different attributes and refine the origin. That's why the demon race can extract the origin energy of demon chi to produce demon energy and refine the body. The compatibility of the human race is to take into account the integration of various attributes. It can allow the blood vitality demon power to increase its strength by swallowing the essence of other flesh and blood. Hearing this, Hong Yuntian's expression became a little complicated. The cloudy body tempering art is like this. By swallowing the flesh and blood of demon beasts, one can quickly increase one's cultivation. Whether it's the flesh and blood of demon beasts or the blood vitality energy inside, they're all different from the blood vitality demon power. Although it can be swallowed for cultivation, the risk is much higher because of swallowing a body that exceeds one's own strength. Disciples who have suffered chi deviation have become monsters with confused minds. But the demon race's associated demon energy is different. The blood vitality demon power and the blood vitality demon power come from the same source. If one can capture a demon alive and use the blood vitality demon power to swallow their associated demon energy, not only will the risk be greatly reduced, but it can also increase one's cultivation speed. Lu Kuan sighed. If there are a large number of living low-level demons, then the cloudy body tempering arts cultivator will have enough cultivation pills. The blood vitality demon power can be cultivated to core formation and above, and after swallowing the associated demon energy of a demon general, one can even condense a blood vitality nascent soul. It's a pity that back then, hearing this, Hong Yuntian fiercely clasped his hands together, and with a crackling sound, the two energies annihilated and swallowed each other. Soon, only a dark purple ball of energy was left, emitting a special aura. He looked at this ball of energy with a cold expression, but a dark purple luster seemed to be reflected at the edges of his eyes. After a moment of silence, Hong Yuntian's lips wriggled, and he said in an almost inaudible voice, "Big brother, the cloudy body tempering art isn't going in the wrong direction." Chapter 1387. Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with some regret. After a while, he slowly said, "If the cloudy body refining art is derived like this, not only can it condense a nascent soul, it can even enter the spirit severing stage. Its body will be strong, and its devil essence will be vigorous, similar to the demon king of the demon race. The only difference is that it can't generate source power of the body." Hong Yuntian's expression returned to normal. He calmly nodded and said, "The demon race of the demon race is exclusive. For normal demon cultivators, after cultivating to the late stage of the demon general realm, their devil essence can directly refine the whole body and achieve a complete body. According to the devouring characteristics of qi, blood, and devil essence, the cloudy body refining art must devour the body and turn it into a pool of liquid. However, the original intention of the Yuan sect to study the body refining art was to strengthen the body. It doesn't necessarily have to generate source power. The cloudy body refining art is equivalent to a demon art that can temper the body." Lu Kuan frowned and said, "Then, when it reaches the spirit severing stage, won't it also have to integrate the true demon will? The human race doesn't have the bloodline of the demon race. If they integrate such will, their strength will be far inferior to the demon race." Hong Yuntian pondered for a moment and said, "The Yuan sect also discovered the flaw of the demon art, so Han Ting and the others tried to study the integration of will. The Saint Demon King also successfully found a way to integrate will. The Seven Fiends sect's baleful demon will and the original demon dragon blade's killing intent. If the cloudy body refining art is cultivated to the spirit severing stage, according to the Saint Demon King's method, it will not be suppressed by the demon race. Although there is no source power of the body, with a strong body in qi, blood, and devil essence, the combat strength will not be weaker than the demon king. Now, the top demon Dao resources in the immortal cultivation world are basically occupied by the body refining pavilion. I think we can arrange a branch in the demon art pavilion to cultivate the cloudy body refining art." "Lu Kuan, what do you think?" Hong Yuntian paused. We didn't hear Lu Kuan's response. He couldn't help but look up. He found that the other was in a daze and seemed to be lost in thought, so he called out again. Lu Kuan came back to his senses. His eyes flashed with thought. "Brother Hong, maybe the cloudy body refining art can be cultivated in another way." "Another way?" Lu Kuan organized his words and said, "Most of the Devil Clan, like the immortal cultivators, walk the path of Jindan and Yuanying. It's just that they have the accompanying demonic energy, which makes their physical bodies extremely strong and their combat power amazing. Since the devil race's bloodline talent produces devil chi that can strengthen a devil cultivator's physical body, then why can't the human race use the devil chi produced by the compatibility of their bloodlines to help temper their physical body?" Hong Yuntian frowned and said, "Assisting in the tempering of the physical body, then what is the main cultivation method? Cultivating mana? The normal cultivation methods of the 5 elements of the human race?" Lu Kuan smiled faintly and said, "Actually, Devi Yiming's demonic sword secret art is the initial use of blood and demonic qi. However, his blood and demonic qi is supported by demonic qi to devour other flesh and blood to replenish his own meridians, not to strengthen his entire body. If an immortal cultivator who cultivates dermic powers uses the Vajra esoteric art as a foundation and reaches the core formation stage, they could try to cultivate the demonic power of qi and blood. Using the devil sword art, they can store it in their sternum. Due to the repulsion between Dharma power and demonic power, Dharma power is still at the golden core level. It can completely suppress low-level qi and demonic power, reducing the risk by a lot." As Lu Kuan spoke, he looked a little excited as he tried to deduce it. In this way, core formation stage cultivators can follow the cultivation method of the cloudy body refinement mantra and refine their body step by step. They can also try to consume the associated demonic energy of the demons to speed up the refinement of their bodies. Dharma cultivators at this level should be able to cultivate their chi and blood to the foundation establishment level. When immortal cultivators enter the nascent soul stage, they can refer to the body refinement demonic art to condense their core and melt their bones. They can store their chi and blood and demonic chi from the sternum to the bones of the whole body and cultivate core formation, level chi, and demonic chi. Nascent soul stage dharmic powers are enough to suppress it. At this stage, in addition to consuming the associated demonic energy of the demons, Dharma cultivators can also let a trace of dharmic powers enter their bones and eliminate each other with the chi and blood demonic energy to quickly refine their bones. Back then, the chi and blood demonic energy in Li Qianfeng's demon arm accelerated its cultivation by consuming the golden core fragment. At the great circle of the nascent soul stage, the Dharma cultivator's body should be comparable to that of a body cultivator at the peak of the bone treasure stage. However, to maintain the dantian and nascent soul, there is no way to condense the flesh and blood to generate the original power of the body. Even so, such a Dharma cultivator has a strong body. The bones of the body contain the chi and blood demonic energy and can cultivate into a soul formation stage cultivator with the orthodox method. This method of cultivation can be called dual cultivation of Dharma and physique. Dual cultivation of Dharma and physique. After listening to Lu Kuan's description, Hong Yuntian couldn't help but feel excited. The ultimate goal of the Yuan School's research on the body refining art was to integrate the body refining art into the Dharma cultivator's cultivation method so as to greatly increase the overall strength of immortal cultivators. However, after thinking for a moment, he frowned slightly and said, "It's simple to say, but this method of dual cultivation of Dharma and physique requires the control of two different types of energy in the body. Not only is it extremely risky to cultivate, but it also takes a long time. Moreover, the aptitude of this kind of cultivator is biased towards spiritual roots. In the body refining pavilion, only the disciples of the treasure pavilion cultivate the traditional cultivation method. If they tried dual cultivation of Dharma and physique, Lu Kuan slowly shook his head and said, "My opinion is to let other sects try it." Just like the Yuan School's original idea, the significance of this realm's existence is to use the different flow of time to research more powerful cultivation methods and help the human race of the upper realm gain a foothold in the spirit realm. At first, Hong Yuntian's eyes flashed with some hesitation. This was tantamount to publicizing the core of the cloudy body refining art. However, after hearing Lu Kuan's last sentence, he no longer worried about his sectarian views and asked, "Which sect do you intend to give it to?" Lu Kuan pondered and said, "Although chi and blood are auxiliary, it also involves two different types of energy. If they accidentally collide, the dantian will be easily destroyed. In today's immortal cultivation world, there are cultivation methods that can cultivate demonic chi at the same time." Hearing this, Hong Yuntian's expression changed, and he said, "You mean Buddhism?" Lu Kuan said, "Yes, the cultivation method created by the great spiritual King Buddha itself is to cultivate demonic chi and Dharma power at the same time, and there can control demonic chi at the same time. Buddhism is the most suitable sect to try dual cultivation of Dharma and physique. Moreover, Abbot Ji Yuan was the first to express goodwill to our body refining pavilion. He also cares about the entire human race. When they have initial results, we can slowly spread this dual cultivation of Dharma and physique." Hong Yuntian also had some understanding of Buddhism, so he did not object. Then he said, "The cloudy body refining art is equivalent to a pure dual cultivation of Dharma and physique. It should be in our hands. We can recruit disciples from the demonic sects of the body refining pavilion and bring them into the demonic technique pavilion to cultivate." Lu Kuan nodded and said, "No problem. This way, the demonic technique pavilion will have three great cultivation methods. Li Qianfeng's body refining demonic technique, cloudy body refining art, and Brother Hong's demonic zombie body refining art. After confirming the development direction of the cloudy body refining art, the two of them followed the same pattern and dissected all the organs of the demon lords. Apart from some information about the demon race, they also learned that these demon lords mainly came from three families: the Luo family, the Xie family, and the He family. The latter two were declining families. There were no demon emperors in their families, so they were subordinate to the Luo family. The Luo family was one of the three great families of the demon race. The strongest person in the family was the demon lord Luo Tian, a terrifying existence at the body integration stage. Lu Kuan recalled the information he obtained from the soul search and said slowly, "Although the memories of these demon lords don't contain any information about this realm, we can guess that the mastermind behind this is the demon lord Luo Tian." Hong Yin Tian said, "Back then, the Supreme Elder deliberately created this demon realm spatial passage with the intention of restraining a demon lord. After all, the demon realm only opens once every 5 years. Not only does it require a powerhouse to guard this secret, but it also relies on a body integration stage existence to cast a spell to send the demon lords into this realm." Speaking of this, he said with a solemn expression, "Lu Kuan, will the demon race sense that we have dissected the high-level demon race's bloodline, Abijna?" Lu Kuan looked at the corpses of the demon lords on the ground with their chests empty. He touched his chin and said, "They should be able to sense it. However, they will most likely think that these demon lords were killed and not searched. After all, their demon organs and bloodline Abijna were almost destroyed at the same time." He pondered and said, "It seems that we can't search the souls of the remaining demon emperors. Otherwise, the demon realm will know that all high-level demon cultivators have been killed this time. If there are still demon emperors alive, they will continue to send more demon cultivators to confirm the situation here." Hong Yintan narrowed his eyes and said, "When I enter the soul formation stage, I could try to control the demon emperor's body. Maybe I can show the demon race some kind of illusion." Lu Kuan was stunned at first. Then, he looked at the fake demon emperor's corpse on the ground and said with some surprise, "Brother Hong, have you found the direction to break through?" Hong Yin Tian said, "I only searched a small part of the fake demon emperor's soul that had just broken through. The other party's soul collapsed under the restriction of a true demon intent. Fortunately, the demon emperor Luo Yu taught the fake demon emperor and the demon emperor's breakthrough method after they entered the immortal cultivation world. It happened not long ago, and I just happened to search their souls. Combined with the information about the techniques obtained from searching the souls of the other demon lords, I have more or less understood the direction of cultivation." The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. But in this way, the demon zombie body tempering art should change its name. Lu Kuan asked curiously, "Change its name to what?" Hong Yintian's mind flashed with the technique he had derived, and he said word by word, "True demon technique." Chapter 1388. Several months later, somewhere in the skies of the Great Zhou Dynasty's Huatian province, Li Qianfeng, a high-level body cultivator, was flying at top speed, recalling what he had done recently. It turns out that blood vitality demon energy is a product of human bloodline compatibility. It comes from the same source as the demon race's accompanying demon energy. With the help of life force, the former can easily devour the latter. No wonder the battle was so easy. He looked at his skinny demon arm, his eyes flashing with a thoughtful light. In the war of the demon race, the second-generation body cultivator disciples fought with early-stage demon generals. Li Qianfeng was the fastest to finish off his opponent. As long as his demon arm grabbed the demon general's body, the blood vitality demon energy inside would riot and begin to devour some kind of energy from the opponent's body, rapidly reducing their body's reaction and strength. With the help of his body's source strength, he easily suppressed the early-stage demon general. When the blood vitality demon energy devours the accompanying demon energy, it will extract a kind of energy source. Not only can it nourish and refine the body, but it can also quickly restore blood essence. Besides body-refining demon arts, other bone transformation realm body cultivators can also use them. The effect is better than the life force of high-level monster beasts. However, the accompanying demon energy also needs to be refined for the demon race. According to the Great Elder's observation, an early-stage demon general needs about 5 years to fully restore their dried-up accompanying demon energy. No wonder the Pavilion Master keeps the demon race in captivity. As long as there are enough demon generals, there will be an endless supply of energy source. This is simply a pill storehouse for high-level body cultivators. Li Qianfeng sighed with emotion. In the past few months, he had followed Hong Yuntian and Little Gold to capture all the devil generals in the devil territory. He had extracted a round of their associated devil abilities one by one. He could even remember the terrified expressions of every devil general. Besides the Great Elder, only my body-refining demon art is suitable for extracting this special energy. The energy source that was extracted this time is enough for everyone to use for some time. Moreover, this energy needs the Great Elder's blood essence to be preserved for a long time. The next extraction should take a long time. If I can refine the energy source of the accompanying demon energy into some kind of pill, it will be convenient to store it. While thinking, Li Qianfeng heard the faint sound of a bell. He couldn't help but look up. A vast mountain range with a flat top came into view. Temples could be vaguely seen in the clouds at the top of the mountain. That's right, we can let the monks of Huatian Temple study this kind of pill. They'll try to cultivate both energy and body. Other than the accompanying demonic energy, they'll also use special herbs that contain qi and blood. Let's start with the associated demonic energy of low-grade demonic weapons and slowly extend it to high-grade pills. He slowed down his flying speed, and his divine sense swept over a jade slip in the rib space. His eyes were full of reverence. Pavilion Master and Great Elder are truly amazing. They actually combined the cloudy body tempering mantra, the Vajra spell, and the artifact spirit root to create a brand new body tempering mantra that can be cultivated by traditional immortal cultivators. According to the idea inside, cultivators with Jindan and Yuanying, as long as they follow the order step by step, will have the opportunity to cultivate their physical body to the peak of the bone treasure level. However, this cultivation method is extremely risky. If you slack off or rush for success, the qi, blood, and demonic power may devour your entire body. Furthermore, cultivating the physical body at the same time as the golden core and nascent soul consumes a very long time. Thinking of this, he suddenly touched his head with his hand and muttered in his heart, "Let the Buddhists study and perfect the cultivation of both energy and body. I can just pass the cultivation method to Abbot Ji Yuan and communicate with him through the voice transmission talisman. Great Elder wants me to stay in the Buddhists for 300 years and personally guide them. I heard that the Buddhist cultivation methods are very evil. Isn't he afraid that I'll become a monk?" While he was troubled, Li Qianfeng had already arrived above the largest temple. He looked at the monks coming and going under the clouds, listened to the bell echoing in the mountains, and smelled the Buddhist fragrance in the air. His emotions suddenly calmed down. Since Pavilion Master and Great Elder have made such arrangements, they must have their reasons. I'll just cultivate in the Buddhists in peace. Then Li Qianfeng exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. A voice transmission talisman appeared in his hand. His lips moved slightly, and he threw it into the clouds in front of Huatian Temple's mountain gate. Ancient spirit state, in a cave in the depths of the primeval Devil Mountain Range. Hong Yuntian stood in the hall and looked at his right hand. A ball of black liquid floated in his palm. Purple lightning intertwined within it, like a mini thundercloud, emitting a unique aura. The early stage of devil change cultivation is the process of fusing the essence of the human and demon race's flesh and blood. After forming the true demon bloodline, one will enter the middle stage of devil change. At this stage, with the help of the physical origin power and bloodline power, one will be able to extract special origin energy from demon essence energy. Then, under the effect of life force, it will fuse with chi blood demonic energy to form this chi blood demonic energy. Hong Yuntian felt the aura of the energy in his palm and revealed a somewhat intoxicated expression. This energy not only has the ability to devour chi blood demonic energy, but also contains the characteristics of the demon race's chi blood demonic energy to refine the body. It can be said that it combines the characteristics of the human and demon race's bloodlines. It's simply perfect. As the chi blood demonic energy grows, the strength of the physical body and life force will also increase at the same time. If there are no surprises, as long as I convert all my chi blood demonic energy into chi blood demonic energy, my cultivation will reach the peak of the middle stage of devil change, and I could try to enter the late stage of devil change. If I cultivate step by step, I'm afraid it'll take me 300 to 400 years to completely convert all my chi blood demonic energy. He couldn't help but recall the scenes of him and Li Qianfeng extracting demonic energy in the past few months. The energy source of a demon general's accompanying demon ability is not refined enough and is not of much help. Only the energy source of a demon king's demon ability and a fake demon emperor's demon ability can directly fuse with my vitality and demon power to speed up my cultivation. The internal organs of the 6 demon kings have all been destroyed, and there's a complete fake demon emperor, as well as Hong Yintian waved one hand, and a 9-foot-long demon corpse appeared on the ground. At the same time, a spiritual light flashed in front of him, and a 1-foot-tall purple-black demon nascent soul floated in the air. This demon nascent soul surged with a vigorous demon chi aura, but the true demon will and divine soul inside had dissipated. It was the nascent soul of the demon kings they had searched. With their help, my cultivation time in the middle stage of demon change can be greatly reduced. While thinking, an invisible force field surged around Hong Yuntian's body, lifting the fake demon emperor from the ground and making it sit in a cross-legged position. Then, he went behind the fake demon emperor, and a ball of chi blood demonic energy, flashing with purple lightning, appeared in each of his hands. The 2 human palms quickly melted and stuck to the purple-black scales like wax. From the black liquid arms, one could see flesh and blood in the shape of muscle fibers. It looked extremely evil. Gradually, the demon corpse, whose divine soul had dissipated, slowly opened its eyes, and its mouth full of fangs slowly opened, swallowing the floating demon nascent soul. According to the information obtained from the soul search, the demon kings and fake demon emperor's demonic energy can be extracted from demon chi and true essence. With the help of the chi blood demonic energy in my body, I can barely control the fake demon emperor's body and circulate its demonic energy. This demon corpse is equivalent to a transformation magic treasure, transforming the demon chi in the demon king's nascent soul into demonic energy origin for me to absorb. With the increase of the chi blood demonic energy, the control of the fake demon emperor's body will be smoother, and the cultivation speed will be faster and faster. Hong Yintian slowly closed his eyes, and the source field surged outside his body, and a powerful bloodline aura containing the true demon will appeared. The surrounding demonic energy trembled slightly and gathered toward the fake demon emperor's body. Great Zhou's underworld mountain, Corpse King Valley. Thunder Yiksha and the other corpse kings sat cross-legged in a circle. They wore different colored robes, and except for their gray skin, bone spurs, and wings on their backs, their faces and figures looked no different from ordinary human cultivators. Under the control of these high-level, silver-armored corpses, the cold Een energy in the sky above the Corpse King Valley gathered below. After being purified by them, it finally rushed towards Sure Eener in the middle. In today's immortal cultivation world, the body refining pavilion was the dominant force. Under its protection, no one dared to have any ideas about Underworld Mountain. Moreover, the body refining pavilion was rich and had abundant cultivation resources, so these corpse kings didn't need to go out to find resources. More importantly, under the nourishment of the bone transformation body cultivator's blood essence, the 5 corpse kings' bodies became more and more refined. The corpse chi in their bodies became the same as serene's. It could be condensed into the bones, and it could also be manifested to form corpse chi armor outside the body, further increasing their strength. Therefore, over the years, the more Thunder Yiksha and the other corpse kings thought about it, the more they felt that Lu Kuan was right. Zombies and body cultivators were simply an excellent combination. More importantly, body cultivators had almost no demands on silver armor corpses. According to Pavilion Master Lu, only the metal elite zombies' special mental strength would be of help to the cultivation of a high-level body cultivator. The body refining pavilion raised the zombies of the middle underworld mountain in order to cultivate the metal elite zombie. To the metal elite zombie, this wasn't much of cost. According to the information left behind by Metal Elite Corps, zombies in this realm were completely free from the corrosion of bloodthirsty will, which was very attractive to Thunder Yiksha and the other corpse kings. In order to seize the opportunity to break through, the 5 corpse kings didn't hesitate to consume their origin to help Ener, who had an extreme body, cultivate to the peak of silver-armored corpse as soon as possible. With the help of a real metal elite corpse and the body refining pavilion's resources, they had a chance to enter this realm. In the southwest cultivation world, the 3 demonic sects of the state of Qi had become history. The 7 Fiends sect had vanished in a thin air. The Yin-Yang sect had been eliminated by the body refining pavilion, and the remaining blood refining sect had become a subsidiary sect of the body refining pavilion under the demonic arts pavilion. On this day, in the depths of the demonic dragon mountain where the blood refining sect was located, Pan Yin, a mid-stage bone transformation realm cultivator, stood in a valley. He looked at the bottomless hole under his feet and said to the female cultivator behind him, who was only half his height, "Fairy Lo, I'm in seclusion in the depths of the Xianhuang Qi underground. I won't disturb the true demonic pool in your forbidden area." This female cultivator with a chubby face was the current grand elder of the blood-refining sect, Li Yanjun. She raised her head and looked at the tall figure whose arms were almost as thick as her waist. She slightly bowed and said, "This is the restriction token of the forbidden area. When Elder Pan leaves, just activate it with your consciousness and the restriction outside will open. I won't disturb you." Panyan took the dark red token and nodded slightly. After Li Yanjun left the valley, a sphere the size of a watermelon appeared in his thick palm. It seemed to be composed of black muscle fibers and seemed to contain some kind of special energy. This is the energy source extracted from the high-level demonic generals. It's enough to sustain cultivation for a period of time. Grand Elder said that one of the ways to comprehend the power of will is to comprehend the heaven and earth. The soul of a late-stage nascent soul realm cultivator is extremely close to his nascent soul. Through the nascent soul, he can comprehend the truth of all things and try to comprehend the will of the corresponding 5 elements. Although a body cultivator doesn't have a nascent soul, the physical body itself is the place where the soul resides. If I sink my physical body into the Xianhuang Qi, which is the ultimate earth attribute treasure of heaven and earth, I wonder if I can comprehend it? After whispering a few times, Pan Yin took a deep breath and jumped into the bottomless hole. In a certain cave abode in the devil abyss of the cloud ridge mountains of the Wei Nation's Lu province, hundreds of swords were stabbed into the ground. Some of them were Dharma artifacts, while others were Dharma treasures. They were arranged in a special formation that filled the entire hall. As the surrounding demonic qi and spiritual qi rolled, the hall was filled with spiritual sword cries from time to time. Huang Xiaoyan sat cross-legged in the middle of these swords, practicing the middle stage of bone transformation. Chapter 1389. In a strange place far away from the world of cultivators, there was a thick black fog that stretched for thousands of miles. It was surrounded by deep purple lightning bolts. The black fog and the lightning bolts intertwined, outlining the vague outline of a giant humanoid creature. For tall demon cultivators were floating near the creature's head. 2 of them were male, and 2 of them were female. They were wearing armor that was a mixture of bone spikes and scales, and their faces had different totem patterns. After a while, a female demon with a beautiful face and short purple hair opened her eyes. She said in a slightly soothing voice, "I just communicated with the Mirage Beast. Although it doesn't know what happened in that small realm, it can vaguely sense that many disciples of the Sacred Clan are still active in the demonic fog." Hearing this, the other 3 demons also heaved a sigh of relief and couldn't help but discuss. According to the situation 700 years ago, if the human race won, they definitely wouldn't have let the disciples of the Sacred Clan stay in the nightmare fog. The human race would have either destroyed them or locked them in a restricted area to prevent the disciples of the Sacred Clan from making further breakthroughs and creating new demon kings and fake demon emperors. So it seems that our army didn't lose. Instead, both sides suffered great losses. Impossible. The most powerful human cultivator in that small realm is only at the pseudo-soul formation stage. Even with the help of some exquisite array formations, the power they could unleash is extremely limited. Most of the disciples of the Sacred Clan are still alive, but only Demon Emperor Luo Yu is left. This means that the fierce battle took place at the Demon King level. The combination of the Demon Kings and Demon Emperors of the Sacred Clan, and it was in a place where the demon's spirit vital chi is mixed. Unless the human race has more than 10 cultivators at the mid-soul formation stage, it's impossible for them to achieve this. Hearing this, the short-haired female demon's triangular purple eyes flashed slightly. There's another possibility. There's more than 1 demon king at the mid-soul formation stage and suspected to be from the spirit realm. Hearing this, the other 3 demons' expressions changed slightly. The one that injured Luo Yu and the others was that unknown spirit realm creature. Thinking about it this way, it's very possible. The nightmare fog of the Mirage Disk was broken probably because the fluctuations from their chaotic battle reached the limit of the realm and interfered with the space. If that unknown spirit world creature won, they would definitely have rushed into the demonic fog and destroyed the Saint's space channel. But we didn't feel any strong spatial fluctuations. Did Luo Yu and the others win? It's also possible that both sides have suffered heavy losses. However, that realm has a large number of human cultivators and an endless supply of nascent soul cultivators. Luo Yu's recovery ability is extremely strong. She might be chasing after the other party right now. The further we delay, the greater the advantage the Saints will have. Moreover, the demon generals we sent over all have decent aptitudes. If they cultivate in the nightmare fog environment, they will soon give birth to new demon kings or even fake demon emperors. Listening to the discussion, the short-haired woman was silent for a while. No matter what the result is, we will know when the space channel opens in 5 years. During this time, we will guard the Mirage Disk at all times. Unless Luo Yu dies or something happens to the Nightmare Mist, inform Lord Father. Before that, no one is allowed to disturb Lord Father. If Lord Father's recovery is affected, you should know the consequences. Fear flashed in the eyes of the other 3 demons. They nodded and spread out around the head of the lightning creature. Broken Kingdom, deep within the North Pole Mountains. In a cave-dwelling hall that was embedded into the cliff of the abyss, countless strong winds mixed with demonic spirit origin energy constantly tumbled about, emitting loud, rumbling sounds. Beneath the halo of black, white, and gold origin energy, a deformed life form sat cross-legged in the center of the hall. This was a 2-headed and 4-armed monster. One head was that of a short-haired human man, and the other was that of a 4-eared monkey with golden fur. On both sides of its massive body, there was a pair of human arms and a pair of golden monkey arms that were several times thicker. Three different colored origin energies swirled around its body like rings of light. At the same time, boundless blood vitality roiled within the body of this two-headed and four-armed monster. Faintly, an incomparably hateful roar emitted from its body. After an unknown period of time, the origin energy in the hall gradually calmed down. The thick monkey arms on both sides of the monster's body had shrunk in half, and the hateful roar and surging bloodline aura within its body had also vanished. Rip! Suddenly, the flesh and blood of the two-headed and four-armed monster's neck and shoulder joints tore open. The fine muscle fibers inside were like countless intricate gears, biting and separating from each other. Through these cracks, one could even see the internal organs that were beating, as well as the bones that were also splitting apart. The speed at which the flesh and blood separated became faster and faster. Accompanied by an invisible force field, a golden figure shot out from the back of the body and transformed into a golden-haired monkey that was several feet tall. This little monkey somersaulted a few times in the air, stepped on the void, and jumped a few times before landing next to the burly human man. It clenched its small fist and surged with strong wind blades. Sensing the situation within its body, the little monkey said with a happy face, "Lu Kuan, all the resentment has been consumed. My strength has also increased to 1,400,000 gene." Lu Kuan's face was slightly pale and his aura seemed a little weak. He exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and nodded gently. The hyperboloid rune of strength has been successfully condensed. My strength has naturally increased. At this point, his eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. I didn't expect the six-eared macaque's devouring theurgy to be so domineering. If not for my cultivation being so much higher than yours and my unique body cultivator theurgy, even if I didn't die, my cultivation would have been greatly reduced. Ever since Xiao Jin used the three-headed, six-armed monster, the resentment in its body would occasionally surge. To ensure the little monkey's cultivation and eliminate the hidden dangers, Lu Kuan tried to let the six-eared macaque's devouring theurgy proactively. Now, not only had this hidden danger been resolved, Xiao Jin's bloodline origin source had also combined with the demonic race's frenzy to form the power rune. However, because it had left behind a spiritual ear theurgy, its strength did not increase to 1,600,000 gene. And during this period of research, Lu Kuan had a thorough understanding of the six-eared macaque's theurgy. Back then, when he and Xiao Jin formed a bloodline contract by chance, the six-eared macaque's devouring theurgy had taken effect. As long as Lu Kuan cultivated a technique, Xiao Jin could cultivate it. As long as he successfully broke through a major realm, the little monkey would naturally break through as well. If Lu Kuan's judgment was correct, the wise stone monkey in the body refining Pavilion's Mountain of Vows was the main body of the previous six-eared macaque. As the theurgy realms were exactly the same, the two divine monkeys had fought fiercely and suffered heavy injuries, dying at the same time. The wise stone monkey had used its theurgy to try to be reborn from fossil. For some reason, the six-eared macaque's bloodline had been inherited by Xiao Jin. Lu Kuan muttered, "Fortunately, we didn't repeat the same mistake and solve this problem in advance. Otherwise, when you entered the Zhengyuan stage, the hatred in the depths of your bloodline would corrode your soul and try to devour me." Hearing this, Xiao Jin scuttled to Lu Kuan's shoulder. Its eyes were filled with fear as it said, "Fortunately, I didn't copy the lightning resistance. Otherwise, I might have entered the late stage of bone transformation. That would be troublesome." Hearing this, Lu Kuan muttered, "Lightning resistance is a special theurgy of the hidden Relingen. Demon beasts don't have spirit roots, so there's no way to copy it." When Xiao Jin was at the peak of bone treasure, it didn't break through with Zhao Qingtian and the others. It was because its bloodline instincts had a premonition that a hasty breakthrough would only lead to death. Taking advantage of this juncture, the two sides pulled apart about 100 years of cultivation time. After that, Lu Kuan used the theurgy of soul concealment and the spiritual shock wave produced by the dark spirit crystal and the will of the mutant to quickly temper his internal organs. He cultivated to the pseudo-Zhang Yuan stage. Later, they encountered the incomparably strange demonic fog, which caused the six-eared macaque's bloodline theurgy to erupt prematurely. In the end, due to the difference in their cultivation levels and the effect of Beast King transformation, their bodies strangely formed a half-fused state. Lu Kuan smiled and said, "Although the hatred is gone, our bodies still have a fused connection. We can use the Beast King transformation to transform into a two-headed, four-armed body. It can be considered a blessing in disguise. We've obtained a unique joint theurgy." Hearing this, Xiao Jin's four ears trembled at the same time. It said excitedly, "If we cultivate like this, I will also break through using the double helix method. At that time, if we use our two-headed, four-armed bodies, how powerful will that be?" Lu Kuan raised a finger and flicked the little monkey's head. He laughed and scolded. "What are you thinking about? Although the six-eared macaque's bloodline origin is still there, without the hatred, your cultivation speed will probably be affected. Hurry up and go to the Demon Abyss cave abode in the Yunling Mountains to cultivate. I only have less than 300 years left." Oh. Chapter 1390. The little monkey reluctantly left the North Pole Mountain. Although the demonic spiritual Yuan Qi in this place was very pure, and there was a constant supply of demonic spiritual Yuan Qi from the spatial cracks, Lu Kuan also used up a lot of demonic spiritual Yuan Qi. If Xiao Jin stayed here, his efficiency would only decrease. After the little monkey left, Lu Kuan fell into deep thought alone. He recalled the scene from before and whispered, "The six-eared macaque's bloodline mystique is also a special rune structure, and the demonic bloodline rune from before. I wonder if a body cultivator at the Zhang Yuan stage can use it." Just now, he and Xiao Jin were in the state of two heads and four arms. One man and one monkey's internal organs showed a half-fused Dantian with the help of the Snow Soul dual sabers. If Lu Kuan had not tested the internal organs of the six demonic lords and improved the Beast King transformation mystique, he would not have been able to do this. It was in this state that he saw Xiao Jin's bloodline pool. As their internal organs had fused together, there were 10 internal organ islands. The bloodline pool was connected, but it was clearly divided into two. Xiao Jin's bloodline pool had a few different parts. There was the demonic ape transformation of his long-armed demon ape bloodline, the long-armed mystique, and the passive strength mystique. Other than that, there were two pools. One was the spirit ear mystique, and the other was in the middle of the pool. It was a very special golden rune pool. I thought the six-eared macaque only devoured blood essence. I did not expect it to devour the bloodline origin. In order to wear down Xiao Jin's bloodthirst, almost half of my violent bloodline origin was used up. After sighing, Lu Kuan closed his eyes. The origin force field collapsed inwards, and his physical body and consciousness sank into his Dantian. In the bloodline pool, surrounded by the 5 internal organs islands, a circular double spiral bloodline rune floated in the golden blood. Compared to before, this rune had shrunk a lot. The bloodline origin particles on it were also very shriveled. With his bloodline damaged, although Lu Kuan could still use the power of 2 elements, it was extremely strenuous. It was as if he was suffering from a serious illness, and it was even more unbearable than when his essence blood was exhausted. If blood essence can be recovered through bone marrow, then the bloodline origin particles should also be able to recover by absorbing energy. The only energy in the bloodline pool is the devil spirit's viscera. With a thought, Lu Kuan looked towards the bottom of the bloodline pool. There were over 1,000 specks of purple and black light. They were the demon viscera origin particles he had extracted from the demon race's divine soul concealment divine ability some time ago. Under the effect of microscopic origin power, these particles floated up and surged into the dried double helix, entering the dried bloodline origin particles without any resistance. However, the latter shrunk slightly, as if there were some changes, but also as if there were no movements. There's some recovery effect. Could it be he suddenly thought of something? Under his control, many demon viscera origin particles rolled into the will bond of the double helix. With the loss of some violent will, silver-white spirit viscera origin particles gushed out from the other end, and then directly entered the dried bloodline origin particles of the main chain. At this moment, the surface of the entire circular double helix bloodline suddenly lit up with a layer of pale golden light. Lu Kuan immediately felt that the bloodline origin was showing signs of recovery. He breathed a sigh of relief. Then he looked at the special layer of light and was slightly surprised. Strange, after the demon viscera origin particles are integrated, there seems to be a tendency to fuse. But I've experimented repeatedly before. The demon viscera origin energy is neither conflicting nor fused in the bloodline pool. Could it be that it can only fuse when the bloodline origin is damaged? Lu Kuan pondered for a moment and began to control the sea of blood essence, injecting the blood origin particles into the 5 viscera islands. Under the filtration, every 9 blood origin particles condensed and turned into a golden particle that entered the bloodline pool. Whether it was blood demon viscera or blood true essence, they would be purified into blood origin particles by the 5 viscera islands. This golden blood origin was the same. However, when it entered the will bond of the double helix, what came out was not the fused golden viscera, but 2 different viscera. With the influx of the golden blood origin particles and the transformation of the violent will bond, a large amount of spirit viscera origin particles appeared in the bloodline pool. Together with the demon viscera origin particles at the bottom of the pool, they were continuously injected into the dried-up origin particles of the double helix bloodline. Gradually, a numb feeling spread throughout the body, making people feel as if they had returned to the time when their bodies were still growing. Time continued to pass, and the dried-up origin particles slowly recovered. After more than 3 months, the particles inside became full. At this time, the demon viscera origin particles could not easily enter. In the process of the bloodline recovery, Lu Kuan discovered a situation that he had not noticed before. When the demon viscera origin particles were tightly attached to the main chains of the double helix, as well as the bone spurs in the middle, the 2 different viscera origin particles seemed to have a slight tendency to fuse. Could the key to the fusion of the 2 energies be the bloodline origin particles? For Lu Kuan, who had just begun to study the cultivation method of the viscera origin stage, this kind of energy was obviously the most important. Moreover, he had a special bloodline that had a dual attribute will break through. This kind of fusion and separation of the core energy was definitely closely related to his future cultivation. Lu Kuan carefully observed the 2 main chains of the double helix bloodline rune, especially the plump origin particles. When he enlarged them and saw the appearance of the particles that were a mixture of bone spurs and muscle fibers, he suddenly understood. The violent bloodline is a brand new bloodline, but the bloodline origin particles inside can still see the characteristics of the 2 races. In other words, my violent bloodline has not completely solidified and is still in the nascent stage. If the bloodline is truly formed, it should contain a new kind of bloodline origin particles. The bloodline origin of the human and demon races seems to have changed a little after 3 months of recovery. He suddenly found that at the intersection of the bone spurs and the 2 main chains, the muscle fiber particles of the human bloodline origin seem to be fusing with the demon bone spurs. The bone spurs are not damaged. Is it the infusion of the demon viscera origin particles in the past 3 months that caused the fusion? A newly formed bloodline needs time to nurture, just like a newly forged artifact. The energy that needs to be nurtured is the demon viscera origin particles. Lu Kuan couldn't help but analyze in his mind. My bloodline rune is formed through the fusion of the dual attribute will and the bloodline origin particles of the 2 races through microscopic origin power. Although the double helix structure it forms is extremely stable, and the bonds can perfectly restore the bloodline origin soul, the bloodline origin particles inside are not unified and appear to be somewhat mottled. Whether as a body cultivator or a spell cultivator, the purity of energy is extremely important. The bloodline should be the same. Thinking of this, he no longer hesitated. Using the method of restoring the origin particles before, he mobilized the demon viscera origin particles in the two main chains of the double helix and the bone spurs in the middle. However, when these purple, black, and white dots of energy hit the main chains of the double helix, they were bounced back. The origin particles are full and no longer absorb the demon viscera origin particles. If they don't absorb, I will force it in. Lu Kuan's mind moved, and the microscopic origin power he mobilized gradually increased, suppressing the rebounding demon viscera origin particles. The main chains of the double helix and the bone spurs in the middle were covered with two colored dots of light. They resonated with each other and slowly penetrated the bloodline origin particles under the pressure of an invisible force. With the infusion of these energies, the ring-shaped double helix bloodline rune in the bloodline pool began to tremble slightly, making Lu Kuan feel a pain that seemed to pierce the depths of his soul. He ignored the pain and carefully felt the vibration of the double helix rune. He gradually increased the microscopic origin power until all the demon viscera origin particles of light were absorbed into the bloodline origin of the two main chains. Immediately afterward, Lu Kuan felt that the two types of energy seemed to merge within the bloodline origin particles. Moreover, a special kind of energy was nourishing and nurturing the bloodline origin particles. It seems that my guess was right. The berserk bloodline is in the nascent stage and needs to be nourished with demon viscera origin particles to fuse the bloodline origin of the human and demon races. The vibration of the double helix is the repulsive force produced by the further fusion of the two races' origins. From the perspective of the effect, the nurturing of the nascent bloodline seems to take a long time. I could try to increase the microscopic origin power. The structure of the double helix bloodline can even support the berserk divine ability for a period of time. This little vibration is nothing at all. While thinking, Lu Kuan mobilized more microscopic origin power to find the best cultivation efficiency. At the same time, he absorbed the heaven and earth yuan qi from the outside world and transformed more demon viscera origin particles. Soon, his burly body was wrapped in turbulent golden yuan qi, and the incomparably violent bloodline aura in his body became more and more turbulent. Chapter 1391. As time passed, this cave dwelling stuck at the edge of the abyss was always wrapped in a thick black and white halo. 1 year, 5 years passed, and the yuan qi was still surging, but the gathering speed was much slower. It formed a kind of balance with the demonic spirit yuan qi gushing out of the surrounding space cracks. After more than 30 years, the yuan qi in the North Pole mountain range gradually calmed down. The burly body wrapped in golden yuan qi gradually appeared in the cave dwelling. The power of blood in his body was surging, but the strange thing was that the violent bloodline aura seemed to have disappeared. This is the fully formed double helix bloodline rune. Lu Kuan's body and consciousness were still immersed in his dantian, feeling the double helix rune in the bloodline pool. Although this bloodline rune was still a double helix structure, its appearance was very different from before. Originally, the basic unit of the true demon rune main chain was a long strip with a bone spur as the backbone. The two ends were wrapped with muscle fibers, and it looked like a mixture of black bone and silver fiber. But now, it was a shiny silver black bone chain. It looked like a chain made of some kind of special metal. The basic unit was no longer a long bone spur, but a circular bone ring. As for the bone spur that extended from the middle of the true demon rune main chain, it had become a smooth metal strip that extended from the side of the bone ring. It was engraved with a mysterious pattern similar to the demon dragon blade. Originally, the pattern of the fusion of willpower was made of muscle fibers, but now these fibers seem to have melted. Although this true demon rune chain looked like a metal bone, Lu Kuan, who had witnessed the entire transformation, knew that there was a mass of muscle fibers inside the circular bone rings. On the other side, the strength rune main chain did not change much in appearance. It still looked like muscle fibers. The biggest change was the bone spur that connected to the violent willpower. The bone spur had disappeared and was replaced by a short rod made of pure fibers. However, there were rune lines on the outside of these fibers. Through these gaps, one could see a silver-black luster flashing inside. The true demon rune main chain is composed of outer bone and inner fiber, while the power rune main chain is composed of outer fiber and inner bone. I didn't expect such a huge change to occur after the bloodline rune matured. Although Lu Kuan had seen the entire process of the transformation during his cultivation, he still found it inconceivable after seeing it fully formed. This ring-shaped double helix structure seems to have an automatic adjustment, strengthening, and stabilizing effect. After leaving the infant stage, it seems to be much more stable. In addition, the berserk can also be hidden in the will bond. Lu Kuan resisted the urge to test the berserk divine ability and looked above the bloodline rune. There were some pure golden light particles floating there quietly. They were one size bigger than the previous organescence particles. Previously, the reason why the demonic spirit was unable to fuse with the demonic spirit's viscera should be because the source of the demonic spirit's bloodline had yet to fully solidify. Now, the origin particles of the two main chains have been automatically adjusted and reshaped according to the double helix. The fusion of the demon spirit's viscera is a natural process. He was deep in thought as he controlled the golden blood essence outside to enter the bloodline pool and roll the concentrated blood essence into the will bond. Then, whether it was the true demon rune main chain or the power rune main chain, what came out was the fused golden viscera. Then, Lu Kuan placed the golden light particles in the middle of the will bond and slightly urged the berserk primordial spirit to separate the fused viscera into the demon spirit's two attributes. The blood essence can be directly purified into the fused viscera, so the berserk doesn't need to be consumed. The fused viscera can also be separated into the demon spirit's viscera at the will bond, but it needs to consume the berserk will. After confirming the conversion of the viscera, Lu Kuan injected the golden viscera into the surrounding 5 viscera islands. Feeling a special, cool aura circulating in his viscera, he was pleasantly surprised. The tempering effect seems to be better than any of the previous viscera. The cultivation time can be shortened by a lot. After entering the viscera stage, his viscera also needed to be tempered. Previously, when he urged the berserk divine ability, his strength increased to the 4th elemental power in one breath. With the current strength of Lu Kuan's viscera, it was impossible for him to withstand such a terrifying power. If it wasn't for the protection of the Snow Soul twin blades, his viscera would have exploded before he could exert any strength. This golden viscera has fused 2 attributes of energy sources. Let's call it Chaos Viscera. From the looks of it, the first stage of the viscera stage cultivation should be to nurture the newly born bloodline rune. He pondered. This process is not the same as nurturing magic treasures. It's a bit like a demonic beast that has just broken through to level 8 and needs time to stabilize its body with new demonic spiritual power. I used the viscera to stabilize the newly born bloodline rune. The mature double helix bloodline rune is more stable. The sequence and structure of the power rune main chain have also changed quite a bit. I should be able to use this more stable rune main chain to optimize the bloodline separation secret technique that ordinary body cultivators use to break through the viscera. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan sighed in his heart. Ordinary body cultivators didn't have willpower in their bloodline, nor did they have the divine soul concealment divine ability to defend against the impact of willpower. If they wanted to break through to the viscera stage, the first step was to comprehend their own willpower. In today's immortal cultivation world, other than Abba Ji Yuan, only Mo Qing of the Blue Cloud sect and Master Tsong Feng of the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud had comprehended willpower on their own. The others had all combined the willpower of others. This showed how difficult it was to comprehend the willpower. Although I have formed the bloodline primordial spirit, such a violent willpower can't be passed down to a body cultivator disciple. Even the divine soul of a pseudo-soul formation cultivator can't withstand such a terrifying willpower of two attributes. According to the memories on Earth, DNA has the function of replication and transcription. If the double helix bloodline rune is compared to DNA, the replication function can be used to strengthen and cultivate the bloodline, and the transcription function is to pass down the bloodline. Lu Kuan smiled bitterly in his heart. But my double helix rune can't do this at all. Whether it's replication or transcription, the chain of willpower between the two main chains needs to be opened. Not to mention opening it. As long as the life force of the merged willpower is removed, the violent fluctuations of the divine ability will almost collapse the double helix rune. If the willpower bond is forcefully separated in this state, I'm afraid the bloodline rune that was painstakingly cultivated will be broken in half. Fortunately, they haven't entered the late stage of bone transformation. With more than 200 years left, they may be able to find other ways to pass down the will of the bloodline. Thinking of this, he turned his gaze back to the bloodline pool. After passing the initial stage of the bloodline, I can already perfect the method to break through to the viscera stage. If I continue to study it, I may gain something. Lu Kuan couldn't help but calm his mind and began to think about the next cultivation of this stage. The bloodline rune has left the initial stage, and the demonic spirit viscera has become chaotic viscera. At this time, if I continue to inject viscera into the bloodline origin of the two main chains, will the bloodline continue to grow? Without a way to refer to the replication and transcription of DNA, Lu Kuan could only continue with his previous cultivation method. While he was pondering, the golden blood essence in the sea of blood began to roll and enter the bloodline pool. Through the brand new bloodline runes, a large amount of primal chaos essence was purified. Then, these golden light spots were forcefully pushed towards the two main chains under the effect of the microscopic origin power. The resistance is so strong. Lu Kuan immediately found that the bloodline rune sent out a stronger rebounding force than before. He had to add all of his dual elemental power to the internal collapse outside the viscera ball. He kept increasing the microscopic source power, and these golden light spots slowly squeezed in. The bloodline rune trembled again, and with the infusion of chaotic viscera, every bloodline origin particle in the double helix rune expanded slightly. There's a reaction. Lu Kuan looked at the changes of the bloodline rune with some expectation. He urged the microscopic source power with all his might, and more chaotic viscera poured in. Crack! Suddenly, one of the bone ring origin particles, the part that swelled out from the side, suddenly broke. Seeing this, Lu Kuan was stunned. He found that the particle that fell out was exactly the same as the bloodline origin of the true demonic main chain. It was a smooth silver-black bone ring, and inside it was filled with pale golden fiber balls. Next, one by one, the origin particles split out from the two main chains of the bloodline rune. The origin of power separated into long strips of muscle fibers, and from the side, it could be seen that there was a shiny bone spur inside. These particles were suspended on both sides of the double helix rune. One was the exoskeleton, the bone ring particles with inner fibers, and the other was the short rod particles with outer fibers and inner bone spurs. The mature bloodline rune can split out new bloodline origin particles. Chapter 1392. Lu Kuan felt the brand new bloodline origin particles, his heart trembling, and an idea uncontrollably popped up in his mind. Since the bloodline rune can split into new origin particles, can it be used as a basic unit to condense the second double helix rune. The violent will has been successfully condensed, using the microscopic origin power to carve the mature bone spur innards, and then using the method of breaking through in the past, splitting and recombining to increase the number of bloodline runes, so as to carry out the cultivation of the viscera origin stage. With this idea, Lu Kuan squeezed more chaotic viscera into the bloodline rune, continuing to produce more origin particles, while carefully observing the brand new bone spur innards in the ring-shaped double helix. He called this place where the primordial spirit was stored the willpower bond. The length of the willpower bond that grew from the two main chains was exactly the same. On the surface, one was the outer bone fiber, and the other was the outer bone fiber. As for the rune that came from the demon dragon blade innards, it was engraved on the willpower bond in a hollowed-out manner. Gradually, Lu Kuan split out a lot of bloodline origin particles. During this process, the chaotic viscera could only squeeze in from the boundary between the willpower bond and the main chain to split and recombine the viscera. The willpower bond can't be split out like the origin particles, so I can only use the microscopic origin power to forcibly carve it. Lu Kuan thought for a moment, and then focused his consciousness on a human origin particle. The invisible microscopic origin power surged and turned into a tiny spike, trying to carve runes on this fibrous short rod. But just as the microscopic origin power spike fell, a strange force suddenly gushed out from the surface of the origin particle, as if it contained a terrifying power, and the microscopic origin power was directly squeezed out. Repelling the microscopic origin power, Lu Kuan was stunned. He didn't expect this at all. Even if the bloodline origin particle became more solid, it would at most make it harder for his microscopic origin power to carve. But why would there be a strange repelling force? With doubts, he urged the microscopic origin power again, turning it into several invisible spikes, slowly approaching the origin particle. Where did that power go? Lu Kuan looked at the spikes that were about to land on the surface of the particle, and doubts emerged in his heart. But then, he felt the extremely terrifying repulsive force appear again, crushing the spikes condensed from the microscopic source energy. This repulsive force seems to only appear in a very small area. After he discovered this, he tried a few more times, but no matter how flexible the microscopic origin power was, it would always encounter that incomparably powerful repulsive force at the position closest to the origin particle. This power was like the origin force field of the bloodline origin particles, but the scope of the radiation was extremely small, almost sticking close to the surface of the particles. The deeper his microscopic origin force penetrated, the greater the repulsive force. To be able to repel microscopic origin energy, could it be that this energy is of the same nature as microscopic origin energy, and is also a power of the microscopic scale? Confusion flashed through Lu Kuan's mind. The nascent bloodline rune was formed by him using microscopic origin power to forcibly condense the primitive particles of the demon race and the human race. At that time, he did not try to modify the origin particle, so he was not sure if this power was a characteristic of its own. The repulsive force only acts on an extremely short distance outside the origin particle. This property, I seem to have heard of it on Earth. Lu Kuan carefully reviewed his memories. Although after entering the Zhongyuan stage, he could remember many memories buried deep in his mind. But the knowledge he learned on Earth was mainly about sports physiology, and he could not find any information of a similar nature. No matter what power this is, with the microscopic origin power produced by my current dual origin power, it cannot destroy the origin particle. He sighed in his heart. This meant that the will bond could not be condensed. Even if there were more bloodline origin particles, the second double spiral bloodline rune could not be condensed. It seems that I have to find another way. Lu Kuan had derived the body refinement cultivation method to this level and had a mature set of derivations. First, he had to choose a direction, whether to cultivate the bloodline, refine the body, or improve the body and consciousness. His goal was very clear. He had to find a way to pass the bloodline to the body refinement disciple, and perfect the method of breaking through to the Zongyuan stage, increasing the disciples' chances of breaking through. Lu Kuan's only direct disciples were Pan Yin and Huang Xiaoyan. He could not protect the previous 3 disciples, but Lu Kuan did not want to lose these 2 disciples. No matter what, he had to find a way to help them enter the Zongyuan stage. For this goal, Lu Kuan had to study the cultivation of the Zongyuan stage bloodline and try to find a solution. After choosing a direction, the second step was to boldly hypothesize a cultivation method based on the existing information. The third step was to repeatedly test whether this hypothesis was feasible, and the last step was to draw a conclusion. I'll cut it there. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan made up his mind. Ignoring the possible risks, he turned the microscopic origin force into 2 invisible knives and slashed at the gap between the 2 main chains in the same phase. With a hum, his 2 microscopic knives suddenly disappeared. The double helix rune quietly floated there, unaffected. Seeing this scene, Lu Kuan was stunned. His excitement was doused with a bucket of cold water. What's going on? Why can't the microscopic origin force even cut a gap that relies on solidification? Did it rub against the origin particles? Then he condensed 2 more microscopic origin force knives and fell on the 2 main chains again. This time, he controlled it very slowly, and all his attention was focused on the gap between the origin particles. But the moment he entered the gap, the origin force knives seemed to encounter 2 terrifying suction forces. They were directly torn into nothingness and disappeared in the narrow gap. What's going on? There's a special suction force between the origin particles. Then what was the repulsive force I encountered before? Lu Kuan felt that his understanding had been subverted. This double spiral bloodline rune that had broken away from the nascent stage seemed to have some deeper level of change that he could not understand. I clearly remember that when I was constructing the double helix bloodline rune, the origin particles in each main chain were connected by wild and brutal wills. But from a situation just now, the will fluctuations of the rune's main chain are condensed in the will bond. Lu Kuan felt a little confused. There is no will connection. In other words, between each origin particle of the main chain, it relies on that special suction force to condense. Then what does it have to do with the repulsive force that appeared on the surface of the origin particles before? Under the protection of this strange power, microscopic origin force doesn't work at all. The origin particles can't be destroyed, and I can't even cut off the main chain of the double spiral. Can't copy, can't destroy, can't recombine. Then how should I cultivate the bloodline? Lu Kuan muttered in his heart. He felt that the cultivation path ahead was covered with layers of fog. He groped alone in a daze, completely unable to find the direction. Chapter 1393. After a long time, Lu Kuan suppressed the bewilderment in his heart and gradually calmed down. I must understand the characteristics of this power. In the past, due to his special talent, he did not carefully analyze the characteristics of blood essence and demonic energy, which led to the tragic deaths of several disciples during their breakthroughs. He would not make such a mistake a second time. This power exists in the bloodline rune, which means that it has a great relationship with bloodline power and bloodline abilities. It may contain the true secrets of bloodline. Lu Kuan's gaze focused on a floating human origin particle. He circulated microscopic origin power around it and began to analyze it. This mysterious power is hidden inside the origin particle. On the surface, it has a repulsive force, or a power similar to origin power, much stronger than microscopic origin power. While thinking, he took another origin particle and let the 2 come closer to each other. There doesn't seem to be a suction force between the 2 origin particles like the rune chains. Lu Kuan felt that it was strange. He hesitated for a moment, and then a violent will surged out from the will bond in the bloodline rune and entered the 2 origin particles. There is still no reaction. But then he thought of something and slowly brought the 2 particles closer. As a result, the two sides of the short rod-like origin particle suddenly had a shocking suction force, and the two instantly stuck together. This short-range suction force is actually caused by the bloodline will. Lu Kuan was amazed. He then found a few more particles to test, and found that this short-range suction force had many limitations. In addition to the will, the viscera could also cause this short-range suction force, and only the cross-section of the origin particle that was mixed with bone and fiber could produce this suction force. In addition, when the true demon origin particle and the human origin particle were close, there was a strong repulsive force. Unless the violent will was injected, the two could barely stick together. This reminded Lu Kuan of the willpower bond in the middle of the double helix. That was where the two main chains were connected, and it was also where the berserker resided. Therefore, the short-range suction force was stronger, causing the double helix to stick together. The fusion power of the willpower bond probably has the effect of life force as well. That's right, since the support of the will causes the origin particles to have a suction force, then can I use this method to break the circular bloodline? When Lu Kuan thought of this, the berserker in his bloodline runes rose, and the invisible microscopic source power turned into small knives that slashed down. But just like before, this invisible force still collapsed in the gaps between the particles. This won't do. After forming the bloodline primordial spirit, the soul, bloodline, and willpower will become one. The violent willpower can't completely break away from the willpower bond. It will more or less be added to the nearby origin particles. Unless my spirit and will perish, the suction force between the particles will continue to exist. He sighed inwardly and continued his analysis. The bloodline rune has always had a will. From the looks of it, this power has two attributes. One is an active short-range suction force towards the particles of the same origin, and the other is a passive origin power condensed within the particles to protect them. Although it's also a power in the microscopic state, the strength of this strange power far surpasses my microscopic source power. When he thought of this, Lu Kuan felt a sense of déjà vu. He couldn't help but recall that the bloodline rune and the will of the primordial spirit in his dantian were trembling along with his soul at this time, as if they were assisting him. His memory kept flowing backward. When he transmigrated at the age of 30, he was working at the age of 25, all the way until he was a student at the age of 17 or 18. Gradually, Lu Kuan's soul stopped fluctuating. After a while, he suddenly muttered in his heart, could it be the strong interaction? The memory he found was the content of a high school physics textbook. It briefly introduced a short-range strong force that combined the nuclei in the nucleus of an atom. The laws of heaven and earth in the immortal cultivation world are the same as those on earth, and some are very different. The physical body origin power of a body cultivator is extremely similar to gravitational force in some aspects. I've always compared them to gravitational force to understand them. Then, can we compare the force inside the origin particle to a strong interaction? There are quarks inside the nucleus, and there is a strong force at work inside. This is very similar to the force inside the bloodline origin particle. If the bloodline origin particle is compared to a kind of nucleus, and the convergence between nuclei relies on the strong interaction. The bloodline rune that combines countless bloodline origin nuclei together is equivalent to a giant bloodline atomic nucleus. When he thought of this, Lu Kuan couldn't help but look at the bloodline rune. He felt the passive magical power fluctuations of the violent bloodline, and an idea flashed in his mind. The bloodline magical power fluctuations produced by the bloodline atomic nucleus can be treated as some kind of radiation of the atomic nucleus. The atomic nucleus produces radiation due to decay, and if I extrapolate it backwards, the bloodline is also in a special state of decay. I don't seem to have noticed this change. Is it because I'm nurturing the bloodline, or is it because the decay cycle of the bloodline is extremely long and it's difficult to notice in a short period of time? The bloodline of a monster will become thinner and thinner as it is passed down from generation to generation. Is this a manifestation of the decay of the bloodline? As more and more questions popped up in Lu Kuan's mind, he felt that this conjecture was very close to the truth. If that's the case, then let's assume that this conjecture is correct. I'll re-examine the bloodline rune from the beginning to see if it's logical. First, I'll rename the various components of the bloodline rune. The bloodline origin particles are called blood nuclei, and a strong interaction force inside them is called blood core force. The bloodline rune is called bloodline atomic nucleus, and its rune structure is the special structure of this atomic nucleus. After Lu Kuan redefined these components, he recalled the bloodline rune that he had seen before. The power rune of the long-armed ape monkey is a kind of bloodline atomic nucleus that is absorbed by the blood core force under the enhancement of the frenzy will. Its structure is hyperboloid. The passive power it produces is a special kind of radiation. The more bloodline atomic nuclei there are, the stronger the radiation. When all the bloodline atomic nuclei in the bloodline pool are hyperboloid rune structures, the passive power increase reaches the maximum. However, the active power of the devil-ape transformation seems to be somewhat different. Lu Kuan couldn't help but fall into deep thought. When the devil-ape transformation is activated, all the atomic nuclei in the bloodline pool, under the injection of the true devil will, form a vortex that seems to be constantly converging toward the center. The convergence of the atomic nuclei. Thinking of this, he was suddenly dumbfounded. Isn't this nuclear fusion? Nuclear fusion is the process of two small atomic nuclei condensing into a larger atomic nucleus and releasing energy at the same time. The bloodline pool of the long-armed ape monkey is composed of many power rune particles, which is equivalent to a large number of bloodline atomic nuclei. These bloodline atomic nuclei rely on the nuclear force generated by the frenzy will to condense. Their wills are repelled by the true devil will, so there is no way for them to completely fuse. They can only be in a kind of vortex half-converged state. Therefore, it is a kind of reaction similar to nuclear fusion. The release of energy should be far inferior to real fusion. Even so, the devil-ape transformation's power is incomparably terrifying. Lu Kuan pondered and couldn't help but look at his own double helix rune. The rune of the long-armed ape monkey is a bloodline atomic nucleus. Then, isn't the ring-shaped double helix structure that condenses all the blood nuclei a special kind of bloodline-heavy atomic nucleus? The bloodline fusion during my breakthrough is actually the fusion of two large atomic nuclei. This process requires a large amount of energy to be absorbed. So when I was refining my bloodline primordial spirit, I absorbed a lot of yuan qi of heaven and earth. And when the will bond connecting the two heavy atomic nuclei is about to break, the heavy atomic nucleus will be in a half-split state and will release a large amount of energy. Lu Kuan muttered to himself. In other words, the essence of the frenzy divine ability is actually a kind of fission reaction of the bloodline atomic nucleus. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.